Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: a man from Milton Keynes raising money to pay for his suicide. Pregnant mothers in Hertfordshire told to stop smoking, and plans to double free childcare to start earlier than expected.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A man from Milton Keynes is trying to raise money to pay for his assisted suicide. Roger Bailey had a tumour removed from his back in 2012, but it's left him in constant pain. Matt Lockwood reports.
The operation to remove the tumour from Roger's back left him with severe nerve damage. He's been told the pain he's experienced since can't be stopped, and at the age of 66 he wants to end his own life. Roger is hoping a method known as crowdsourcing will mean that he can pay for his treatment with Dignitas, as well as funeral and flight costs.
A new campaign is encouraging women in Hertfordshire to quit smoking while pregnant. Figures show 1,000 babies in the county are born to mums who smoke each year. The county council says that figure could be much higher, as many smokers don't tell their GP or midwife they smoke. The government is speeding up its plans to double the amount of free childcare available for working parents. Pilots of the scheme, offering 30 hours of care each week for 3 and 4-year-olds, are to begin next September, 12 months earlier than planned. But Neil Leach from the Preschool Learning Alliance says the system is already overloaded.
We've already started to see some of our nurseries and childminders refuse to participate in the scheme for the 15 hours. I think what government has relied on and have frankly got away with is the goodwill of providers on the first 15 hours of free childcare and the ability of parents to make up that shortfall.
The Ministry of Defence is investigating the death of a Royal Marine trainee on a final exercise before qualifying. The man, who's not been named, collapsed on the 30-miler march carrying more than £30 of equipment on Dartmoor. The Electoral Reform Society says the general election last month was the most disproportionate in British history. It's analysed how the results might have been different if the voting system had been changed. Ian Watson reports.
UKIP and the Greens polled 5 million votes between them in a general election. They finished with only one MP each. So the Society commissioned a survey of 40,000 people to ask how they would have cast their ballots under different voting methods, where candidates are ranked in order of preference. Under a system similar to the kind used in European elections, the survey suggests that UKIP would have won 80 seats, while the Greens would have gained 20. But under the alternative vote, the system rejected in a referendum during the last Parliament, the survey suggests the result would have been almost the same.
In sport, New Zealand lead England by 338 runs at the start of the fourth day of the second test at Headingley. Both sides scored 350 in their first innings. And the weather will be sunny at first this morning, but turning cloudy this afternoon with rain by this evening. Top temperatures today around 16 degrees Celsius, that's 43 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
In this modern world of ours, where all is push and shove, everybody's got to have something he can love. Some folk like to spend their lives on horses, dogs and booze. Others pass their time away with monkeys, lions and gnus. But me, poor! I like birds, birds, birds. Poor! Any kind of bird. Nothing seen or heard thrills me like a bird. I like birds, birds, birds. You can take my word, there ain't nothing like a bird, bird, bird. There's a throttle-throated, plushy-coated, lushy little thrush who twitters every evening by me door. She whistles up near, oh, lots of lovey-dovey slush. It makes me feel so I like a bird who rests on me hairy chest, where she's built a nest in my old string vest. I like birds, birds, birds. You can take my word, there ain't nothing like a bird, a bird, a bird. I like birds, birds, birds. I like birds. I used to keep mice, I'd be a sensation with an all. I like birds. I've often fancied a poodle. I like birds. Not like I fancy a bird. I've gone off my porridge. Football and cricket have had it. I love birds.
I think that's going to set the tone rather nicely for the week. Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Bad news. Dave, talking about his snake, has gone. This is here.
Tough, mate.
That's about it. That's about all the clips I've got left. So if you, okay, this is what we'll do in the first hour. This is what we'll do, Katerina. This is what we'll do.
Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Loads of my clips have gone. For example, if we just go to page... hardly anything on page 1 is there. So this has gone, but this is here.
I've got a real passion for donkeys.
This has gone, but this is here.
Sex is everywhere.
To make things easy for us, this has gone, but this is here.
I am not in a bad mood.
So not all is lost. To make things easy, so we can catalogue what's been wiped from the computer and what's still on the computer, could you give us a call? We'll do a little request hour, 08459 455 555. You phone up and request the clips. Oh, my kids are gone. This is gone, but this is here.
I love Big Fun.
It's just no logic to it. There's no logic to... Oh, no! We're never going to hear Justin Dealey in the urinal section again. But we can hear this.
You can smell memories.
So... 08459 455 555. It's the Iain Lee clip request hour. We're going to see what we've got and what we've got.
You know what they've had? A clip clearance.
Well, talking of clip clearances, there's no more Fanny. There's no more Fanny.
Oh.
But there's this.
Todgers.
So, it's a really... Oh, no! There's no boa constrictor or Lost Islands. There's just this. This whole page is reduced to this. I've got to go and lie down.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. If you wanna dance with me. I have no kicks against modern jazz, unless they try to play it too darn fast and change the beauty of the melody until it sounds just like a symphony. That's why I go for that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. If you wanna dance with me. I took my loved one over across the tracks so she could hear my man a wailing sax. I must admit they have a rockin' band. Man, they was blowing like a hurricane. That's why I go for that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. If you wanna dance with me. Way down south they gave a jubilee. I tell you folks, they had a jamboree and drinking beer from a wooden cup. The folks at dancing got all shook up. They started playing that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old way you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If
Oh, that's my friend Mike Love.
with me.
Sorry? What?
Your friend?
Yeah, I met a Beach Boy. Oh, yeah.
Say if you wanna dance with me.
Mike Love is a controversial figure, and I tweeted, so this happened, a picture of me meeting Mike Love, and my friend Meg in America replied, "I'm so sorry," which I thought was brilliant. I met a Beach Boy. I went to see the Beach Boys, Kelly, on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
Good to have you back, by the way.
Thank you.
52 songs.
Wow.
52 songs. He's 74. It was brilliant. I would say significantly better than Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Did you see Al Jardine?
No, mate, he's not in the Beach Boys anymore.
Oh.
There are not many Beach Boys in the Beach Boys anymore, I'll give them that.
So who was there then? The Wilsons?
No Wilsons were involved in this, Beach Boys. Mike Love was there.
Yeah.
Bruce Johnston was there.
Yeah.
Sometime Beach Boy, and David Marks was there. Let's not dwell too much on who was in the Beach Boys. Suffice to say, I had a blooming good night.
Excellent.
Hello.
You know he's 72.
Yeah.
Can he still be called a beach boy? Or is he more like a beach pensioner?
Well, yes, it would be fair to say he was very, very old, but he was rocking and a rolling Barbara Ann. I think I left when they were playing Barbara Ann. I hate Barbara Ann.
Does go on a bit, doesn't it?
No, I hate the woman Barbara Ann. She broke my heart. Anyway, 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to take part in the show, why not? There's a great vibe going on.
Yeah, excellent.
It's only 10 minutes past 6, and I'm riding the vibe.
Is that why you're sitting funny?
Yes, it is, and I apologise for that. Hey, on to slightly more serious things. He realised he was about to go from talking about riding a vibe to a man that wants to die. A Milton Keynes man wants you to help pay for a trip to Dignitas. Now, Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but he is in constant pain after an operation in 2012 left him with severe nerve damage. Now, at the age of 66, he's had enough, and he set up a crowdfunding project to fly out to Switzerland. Catherine, we've spoken to Roger before, haven't we?
Yeah, we spoke to him over a year ago when he decided to sell his autobiography as a way of raising funds for this trip. So obviously he's still trying to work on that. He says that while sales have been steady, it doesn't add up to the large sum required to take that journey to Switzerland to pay for his assisted suicide at Dignitas. The procedure costs in the region of £9,000, which along with funeral costs and flights begins to add up to significant amount. In an ideal world, he says he could do this himself privately, but he can't, which is why he's decided that crowdsourcing might be the answer.
Being flippant, but I can't afford to. I'd far rather pay for it myself. And all I'm worried about is that I'm deteriorating rapidly, and there will come a time where I could end up being taken into care, and then you've got absolutely no chance of going. And I've spent enough time in hospitals in the last 2 years to know that I do not want to be institutionalised, and it doesn't matter whether it's private care homes or council care homes. They're all as bad as each other.
He struggles day to day, doesn't he, this Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, especially as he's lived, by his own admission, a full and colourful life. Now, when we spoke about this in the meeting on Friday, people remembered his book because it listed, quite a large succession of lady friends.
He's had a good time, Roger.
His ex-wife wasn't crazy about the autobiography.
No.
But Roger says that after living that, it's very difficult to face the growing and incapacitating pain that he's going through. He says he wants to make sure his affairs are in order before he's reduced to being cared for in a care home. So for him, this is a question of individual choice and one that he's come to because of his daily experiences.
I live with constant pain because I've had damaged nerves. They're broken, in fact, by the tumour, and they try to attach themselves, but they can't because they're tapered, and so they attach themselves to the wrong parts of other nerves and the rest of my body. And when they do that, that causes a great deal of pain, and it's pretty well constant all day and all night. But this pain is getting worse as the months go by.
Is there a difference between what Roger wants to do? I know the answer to this. It's just a really weird question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between this and other high-profile cases of people calling for assisted dying?
Depends how you look at it.
Yeah.
It ends in the same place, but there is a subtle difference in the way it's referred to. They use assisted dying for people who is terminally ill or knows they will die soon to self-administer medication to kill themselves. But assisted suicide, which would be Roger's case, is for someone who isn't terminally ill. They're chronically ill or disabled, but they've chosen to end their life despite not being about to die.
Wasn't the fella that was on the front page of all the newspapers last week? I didn't really read the story, but he wasn't terminally ill.
Oh, really?
I don't think he was terminally ill. I think he was just... I stand to be corrected, guys. I don't think he was terminally ill.
Well, this is the thing, and people who are not terminally ill are the ones that the disability rights campaigns have a problem with. They say that assisted suicide could open the door for disabled people to be euthanized.
Oh, for
and there are plenty of
goodness
people... So they say it's an insult to people who are living with debilitating conditions. You know?
No, it's not. Hey, do you remember when we did this before? We spoke to that Christian woman who pretended she couldn't hear me, then hung up on me.
Oh, yeah.
Is she coming back? I liked her.
Shall I give her a ring?
Yeah, give her a ring. Because I liked her.
Can't be bothered.
OK, thanks very much.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The
looking at the motorways, there's no reports of any problems so far this morning on the M25, but further afield on the M11 northbound, the exit slip road's been closed at junction 6 for the M25 because of an accident and barrier repairs going on there. Elsewhere, looking at the roads in Buckinghamshire.
You're right, Sammy. You're having a little breakdown. do you need
I'm just not
recharging?
looking at the right thing on my screen. In Hertford on Ware Road, there's temporary traffic lights at Stansted Road, so that could cause some delays later on, and there's no reports of any problems on the trains. Samantha Brent, BBC Three Counties Radio. Do you want to know something interesting?
Oh, Sammy, it will be a first.
We've got a power cut. Everything's dark.
Hey, I love a good power cut. We don't get enough power cuts these days.
No, it's fun, isn't it?
Describe what you can or can't see.
Literally just a big white screen and the red button, which is the one that makes me be on air to you, and there's just nothing else. It's all black.
Well, and so basically, you just made up the trav.
No, we've got that. But it's not quite usual as usual, but you can still see all the cameras and stuff.
This is... Sammy, listen, I could talk to you all morning. I've got to do a radio show. We'll speak later, yeah?
Yeah, but I'll let you know if it's back on.
OK, thanks, mate. Wow. By the way, I'm always happy to have your power cut stories. 0345... Whoa, not yet, guys, not yet. We're getting... the numbers changing soon. Have I put that cat in the bag? 08459 455 555. Is that here? Oh, dear.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, was that the news? Did I miss the news? I think I missed the news.
Nick Coffer on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Every day it's not just about great music and great conversation.
I'll get a bit technical here.
It's about local experts helping you across beds, hearts and bucks.
So what we're talking about then is capital gains tax potentially on the portion of the property that they directly own.
On finance, relationships.
But look at the way that you have contributed to this situation.
Health.
When you have a cough, which can seem quite innocuous in this way, but just irritating, asthma is something that we would think of.
Your pets.
Particularly if your dog is a border collie cross, it will be epilepsy.
And even law.
You still cannot say, Judge, you have to stick to this, but the judge's approach now is going to be, well, why shouldn't we?
Local advice for local people.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes. Morning, Stephen.
Morning, Ian.
What have you got for us, boss?
Basically, you have a programme of light and shade, yes?
Continue.
Right, OK. It's sad about the person you've just interviewed, that he feels that way. I've been in hospital in and out this last year with foot ulcers, and I've had to go part-time. A couple of weeks ago, I decided enough's enough, and I actually handed my notice in. I'm only 54, but I believe I've got every blessing to have a great life ahead of me, helping others, and whatever.
Right, and I'm sorry, Sid, I'm struggling slightly to follow your point.
Well, basically, there's both ends of the scale. There's people that feel that they've got nothing left to live for.
Right.
There's other people at the other end of the scale who have got absolutely everything to live for. I nearly got taken out 3 or 4 years ago by a maniac at 4 o'clock in the morning, having done the Keach Hospice fun run.
Stephen, I'm really sorry, and that sounds terrible. I don't quite understand what your point is.
I'm 54.
Right.
In theory, I should have carried on working.
Right.
But I decided I have got far more to give to Dunstable, to the community, to my life, than work.
Right, OK. I'm struggling to see how this ties in with the story we were talking. I thought you were talking about the gentleman who wants to end his life.
Yeah, basically, life is for living, whatever situation.
Oh, right, OK, right. Oh, I get it. You're making judgment on somebody else's decision. Right, I get it. Sorry.
No, Ian, I'm not. All I'm saying is...
Well, you are. You're saying that life is for living, so you've just judged Roger's decision that he doesn't want to live his life anymore, so...
No, but the whole point being is...
Yeah.
A positive attitude, you can make anything work.
No, you can't. With the greatest of respect, Stephen, you can't. You can't override crippling pain with a positive mental attitude.
You can.
No, you can't, Stephen. You can't. You can't.
Because at the end of the day, you find something that gives you that inch to move yourself forward.
Each what, sorry?
You find something to... OK, pain, yes, it's not ideal. I mean, say, I've been in pain. I've literally been hopping up and down the high street.
I bet Roger would love to be able to hop up and down the high street.
But...
Why have you hopped up and down the high street?
But the thing is, though, you get out, right? There's loads of...
Would the foot ulcers not stop you hopping up and down?
Literally, it feels on occasion I felt like I've been on hot coals.
Right, OK. Well, maybe Roger feels a lot worse than you.
Well, maybe. But all I'm saying...
So how is he supposed to overcome that pain?
Positive thinking.
Oh, Stephen, with the greatest of respect, that's complete nonsense. Hey, it's worked for you, and that's fantastic it's worked for you. Brilliant, well done. And it sounds like you know, foot ulcers and maniac attacks to one side, it sounds like you're making the most of your life. Not everyone's as lucky as that.
Well, thing is, though, they may not think so today, but tomorrow they could well be.
He's not thought so for quite a long time, and we spoke to him a year ago, and he's obviously not changed his stance in a year.
Yeah, well, a year ago, I had 3 weeks in hospital.
Right.
I had 2 weeks in hospital.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
In theory.
What were you in hospital for, mate?
Foot ulcers.
Right. Yeah. He was in hospital for prostate cancer. So if we're playing top trump diseases, he beats you. Listen, it's so easy, isn't it, Stephen? And boy, oh boy, I'm glad you found happiness and peace and whatever it is. But it's really easy to judge other people, isn't it?
No, you don't judge anyone.
But you are, Stephen. Stephen, you are judging.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, no, well then your whole point is invalid because you are literally judging him.
No, the whole point is,
yes.
Ian, listen for once. Right, okay.
Hey, whoa, Stephen! Listen, I think I'm being very calm considering you're talking out of your backside. So just steady.
Ian, the world would be a darn a lot better place if people didn't judge others.
Exactly. So stop judging Roger.
Stop turning it round.
Stop judging Roger.
No, stop turning it round, Ian.
Stop judging Roger.
I'm not judging Roger.
Well, you've just said the world would be a better place if you didn't judge people. You've judged him.
No, I have not.
You've just judged him. You said that he's wrong for wanting to kill himself.
No, I have not.
OK, is he right for wanting to kill himself?
He can do if he wants.
Beautiful. Then what's it got to do with you?
It hasn't got anything to do with me whatsoever.
Then thanks for calling. Stephen?
What I'm saying is, life is life. Until you actually die, there's more to life than life.
Until you actually die, there's more to life than life?
Yes.
Stephen, thanks for your call. Bye-bye. Stephen?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Sleep
alive. What a start to the show. I mean... Oh, Scott on Twitter quoting our last caller there. Until you actually die, there's more to life than life. Wow! Who says the Iain Lee show isn't inspirational, huh? Huh, Justin?
Wow, what a great call.
Well, when you've worked out what it was he was banging on about, please would you let me know?
Yes. Well, I'm still looking for an answer.
Oh, man, we still haven't found what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
It's The Edge. He's fallen off the stage. Justin!
Yes?
I've got so much to talk to you about, but we've got to crack on with this.
Yeah.
But lots to talk about, including me hanging out with a legend.
OK, mate, don't rub it in.
Like hanging out with a legend.
Loving the pictures on Facebook and Twitter over the weekend. Brilliant.
Me and the Beach Boys. Yeah, that's fine. It's not a problem at all. I'm cool with that. Now, listen, Hertfordshire is launching a new campaign to convince pregnant women to ditch the fags, cigarettes. The county council believes more than 1,000 babies a year are born to local mums who smoke, and the best way to encourage them to stop is shopping vouchers. Dealey Wagwan.
Well, basically, they're telling pregnant women to do the right thing by quitting smoking, even though, of course, that can be hard. On the Love Your Bump website, there's an image of a lady who is pregnant. On her bump, there are some baby shoes, and this is accompanied by the words, "When you smoke, I smoke, love bump." Further down the page, it says that those women who tell you that smoking during pregnancy doesn't harm your baby, they are lying. Now, later, you'll be talking to Karen Parker from Milton Keynes. She did smoke during her second pregnancy, and she says that her child is fine.
The child probably is fine. What are we speaking to her for? The child probably is fine. That's the gamble what you do take.
We're talking to her because she found it difficult to stop, and what they're doing now is dangling shopping vouchers alongside the warnings.
Apparently it works. Do you know what? 'Cause I looked into this a little bit because I'd heard this before and thought, well, this is nonsense. Apparently, the offer of cash incentives or vouchers actually has an impact.
You're not allowed to spend it on fags, though, are you?
No, it's not spend on fags.
Say that, you're right. A recent study tested hundreds of women trying to give up the fags. Expectant mothers were offered shopping vouchers worth £400 to encourage them to quit, and it did actually work better than standard NHS support to stop smoking.
Or they were better fibbers because of the cash?
No, this is across the board for smokers. Cash incentives and vouchers works. I know it's nuts.
So you can't stop for your baby, but you can stop for shopping?
Yeah, it's a psychological thing. Do you remember we talked about this before? We did this ages ago, and then some bloke phoned up and said the doctor had told his wife to carry on smoking throughout the pregnancy.
It'd be too stressful to give up.
Justin, you've taken this. You took this to the streets a while ago, didn't you? Probably the last time we did this.
Similar to what you just said there. Now, I went onto the streets expecting I wouldn't find any women at all who would actually admit to smoking while they're pregnant. Oh, we found lots of them. Here's just 2. Aisha, how many children have you got?
6.
OK, now, did you smoke during pregnancy with any of those?
I smoked with 5 of them, but not with the last one. And having the last one, he turned out to be the sickest. He went into NICU for breathing problems. None of the others had any problems whatsoever.
With those 5 pregnancies, when you did smoke, did you feel guilty for doing so?
In some ways, yeah, but it's a lot harder to actually give up, and it causes more stress on the baby then as well. So it's better to actually just carry on smoking through it, and that's what the doctor says as well.
Your doctor said that to you?
Yes, it's a lot easier to carry on smoking while you're pregnant because the withdrawal symptoms are not good for the baby.
If you had another baby, would you smoke during pregnancy then?
I could say, yeah, no doubt I would actually.
Now, madam, again, you did smoke during pregnancy. When you were doing that, did you feel guilty?
Not really. I was a bit stressed, in it? So it's my business, no one else's, isn't it?
Now, your daughter, how many children has she got?
She's got 4.
She's got 4 children?
Yeah.
And how would you feel if she was smoking during pregnancy, because that's your grandchildren we're talking about?
She did smoke.
It didn't bother you?
Not really. Why would it bother me when I smoke myself? I can't... Even if I told her not to do it, they're going to do it anyway, so...
Oh, don't we live in a wonderful, caring society full of wonderful human beings?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 is building up anti-clockwise between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for the A41 at Watford. And a bit further afield on the M11 northbound, the exit slip road at junction 6 for the M25 is closed because of a fuel spillage and a lorry that overturned earlier, so there's barrier repairs going on there too. In Hoddesdon on the A10 southbound from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards Turnford, that's really busy at the moment looking at the speed sensors. And in Palmer's Green on the North Circular Road, there are queues between Great Cambridge Road and the Clock House interchange. On the trains, Great Northern have delays between Finsbury Park and Moorgate because of faulty fire equipment at Moorgate, so that could cause delays for trains heading into London, but tickets are being accepted on the London Underground. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: a man from Milton Keynes is trying to raise money to pay for his assisted suicide. 66-year-old Roger Bailey, who is in constant pain following a tumour, is using a crowdfunding website to pay for his death. A new campaign is encouraging women in Hertfordshire to quit smoking while pregnant. Figures show 1,000 babies in the county are born to mums who smoke each year. And the government is speeding up its plans to double the amount of free childcare available for working parents. Pilots of the scheme offering 30 hours of care each week for 3 and 4-year-olds are to begin next September, 12 months earlier than planned. And the weather will be sunny at first this morning, but turning cloudy this afternoon with rain by this evening. Top temperatures today around 16 degrees Celsius, that's 43 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
New Zealand's cricketers are on top against England in the second test at Headingley. The tourists closed day 3 with a lead of 338 runs. Here's Jonathan Agnew.
435 runs were scored yesterday as the visitors not merely built their lead, but did so alarmingly quickly, which will leave them more than enough time to bowl England out. England have a number of issues that need addressing. They're dropping too many catches, losing wickets in clusters, and Moeen, whose off-spin is being targeted, can't hold an end. England will face a challenging new ball, but then with 7 left-handers, they mustn't allow New Zealand spinner Craig to settle on a pitch that's now allowing enough turn to be awkward.
In rugby, England got a 73-12 win over Barbarians at Twickenham. Head coach Stuart Lancaster included 10 players from his squad for the World Cup and was impressed with the way his side performed.
I think a lot of people might say the Barbarians didn't play that well, but I would counter that and say I thought we got our defence right. We had good shape in attack, and obviously with the strike runs we had on turn of a ball, we were deadly. So just delighted really, because the boys have really worked hard all week. Some guys first time here at Twickenham playing for England, and those guys like your Josh Beaumonts and your Mark Wilsons have had great Premiership seasons. Just really pleased for them.
Jessica Ennis-Hill has qualified for the heptathlon in Rio next year. She finished 4th at the Hypo meeting in Austria.
Generally really pleased with my score. I didn't quite expect to score that high. Disappointed with a few events just because it's so far away from my best, but yeah, a lot of work to be done when I get home, but a really promising start to the season.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 7 o'clock.
Smiles at the waiter, he winks at his friends and they laugh at her later. He's cleaning the car on his pebble dash driveway. New shiny leather he got for his birthday. He reads Harold Robbins, he flirts with his neighbour, ignores her at breakfast, he's reading the paper. He dreams of a roller, she dreams of a fast getaway. He's not a prince, he's not a king. She's not a work of art or anything. It makes no sense. Another year. What kind of A to Z will get you here? It's nothing special. She's not too smart. His style is fashion. She's style is art. I think I told you right from the start. You were just my in-between. Just my in-between. You're such an in-betweener. studies fashion, she studies art. I think I told you right from the start. You were just my in-between, just my in-between. It's not a prince, it's not a king. She's not a work of art or anything. It makes no sense. Another year, what kind of age is that?
Morning, guys. Iain Lee, a BBC Three Counties Radio. Kelly, it's good to have you back.
Thanks, Mum.
Catherine,
Yeah,
you're
what?
still here.
Gosh, really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I got out of the wrong side of bed, but maybe I was harsh on Stephen. Oh no! I don't think I was actually. I like it on the radio when people phone up and they are challenged. And do you know what? I'm going to challenge people, apart from politics, where I'll be impartial.
Not in a mean way, though. It's all sport.
And only at this station, not the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but I just, you know, I'm gonna. Anyway.
What was his parting shot? It was beautiful.
Life
is
more
life.
There's more to life than life. Okay. You'll like this story, Kelly.
Thanks.
It involves bikes and winkles.
Oh, my favourite subjects.
Rally chopper. Excited rider rocks nude bike event. First of all, why would you enter?
Yeah, I saw this.
Well, I bet you did.
It's
You
bad
couldn't
enough
miss
when
it.
you've got your cycling shorts on. Ask Paul Scoynt.
Why? I'm wondering if this is Paul Scoynt. Why would you do a cycling nude event, and who wipes down the bicycle seats? Cops had to intervene in a nude cycling event. I mean, already, look at you! You're pulling a sex face.
Why? How do you know what that looks like?
Because I've seen a lady's sex face before in a film.
Seen mine.
No, I can imagine it. It's that. You're pulling a Jim Dale sex face. Hey, I've booked tickets to go and see Jim Dale.
Wow.
What'd you pull that face for?
Well, that's a bit old-fashioned, isn't it?
Where's Jim Dale?
Yeah, music hall. Woo!
Jim Dale from the Carry On films?
Yep.
What? Hang on a minute. I thought you'd be dead jealous.
No.
Dr. Nookie?
No.
Going to see Dr. Nookie. That's Kenneth Williams. You're doing there. I booked tickets. They were cheap. That will appeal to your instincts.
I wonder why.
Oh, guys, no. Legend.
No, not my thing.
Player. He's like the original Sepp Blatter. Player. Do you see Sepp Blatter was dissing the FBI at the weekend?
Yes.
And now his daughter's come out and said, leave my dad alone, he ain't done nothing wrong.
Leave it, Dad, it ain't worth it. The thing is, right, fair play. If you're at the head of an organisation and everybody else is being investigated, why would you know anything?
Why would you know anything about it? He's a player, they voted for him.
He's in charge of it, and he's been in charge of it for years, but he don't know
I
nothing.
see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. You've got your typical lefty, tree-munching, muesli-hugging, sandal-kissing BBC attitude, all right?
Just summed up my weekend.
The guy ain't done nothing.
Of course he hasn't.
Apart from being a player.
Of course he doesn't know anything about his entire team.
I see what you're doing.
That he's in charge of.
I see what you're doing, and I hope his legal team are listening.
It's all right. He forgives, but he doesn't forget.
He is Prince. All right. Prince Ali could have taken it to a second round of votes. He didn't get the 2/3 majority he needed. He could have taken it to a second round of votes. Prince Ali. I mean, they're all princes over there, but he said, "Do you know what? I'm going to let this. I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let him have it."
I wonder what happened. Wonder what happened.
Cops had to intervene in a nude cycling event after reports a male rider was overexcited. The cyclist was due to join the World Naked Bike Ride, or perverts,
he hadn't even started yet, but he'd started.
When onlookers noticed he was aroused, he was swiftly pulled off his bike. And trousers were put on him before being spoken to by police.
Trousers were put on him. He didn't even put his own trousers on.
One witness said...
But it might not have been his fault.
One witness said everyone was taking their clothes off to get ready. I heard gasps and turned around. He nearly had my eye out. It was a horrible sight. It's fair to say he was overexcited. It looked like he was enjoying the event a bit too much. One of the organisers told him to put his trousers on while speaking on a walkie-talkie to police. At least I think it was a walkie-talkie.
Maybe it was his dictaphone.
That wouldn't contact anyone, that's just...
Use your finger like everyone else. The man looked pretty sheepish. The man was among cyclists in Canterbury, Kent, who were due to take part in the ride. One in a series held worldwide to highlight dangers cyclists face from cars.
Why naked?
Why introduce your own gear stick if you're doing a protest against cars? Organiser Barry Freeman said, "We do not accept this behaviour." He was dealt with by the police. Actually does.
They sorted him out, did they? Good.
Still, I mean, if that race had gone on, I think he would probably have come first, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he?
Never mind, it was all resolved. There was a happy ending.
What have you got in the papers? Well, the podcast is pretty much complete, isn't it, for this week, I think?
Celia Imrie, I don't know why people...
Oh, this is... Oh, no, this is a different thing. Go on, sorry. There's another Celia Imrie story.
Celia Imrie
Yes.
has obviously been saying stuff. People have been writing it down. As a busy actress and author, you cannot imagine she has much time to be bored, but Celia Imrie believes it's a vital part of life and one which children are not experiencing enough.
Yeah, OK.
The 62-year-old, pictured, just in case you didn't know, said boredom makes children more creative, but too many are distracted by gadgets to ever embrace it. If she had her way, mobile phones, iPads and other technology would be banned from restaurants. I think she's probably right.
Yeah. But listen, life is all about life. There's more to life than life.
What else?
I don't know. Scott's come up with a great phone-in that we can't do.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for your input.
It's not Celia Imrie, it's that lot that are in this thing here. It's that lot.
That generation.
Kathy Lett, Zoe Wanamaker, Julie Christie, and Judi Dench naked.
With sea life.
Their shame is covered by fish. I don't get it. Kathy Lett's got an eel up her bum. Zoe Wanamaker's got a rayfish over her what's-its, and her whatchamacallit. And Judi Dench has got crabs. Now... cheap gag.
And they're naked.
We've already had Gillian Anderson wearing a conger eel. And Helena Bonham Carter cuddling a tuna. But oh my God, no need for that. That demeans the story and your profession, Harriet Crawford. This time campaigners have reeled in, there's another one, a British dame to back their cause. Fish love, oh dear. I thought that had been outlawed.
I thought it was frowned upon, at least.
Fish Love, aimed at raising awareness of overfishing, managed to hook in... Harriet, please! Julie Christie, Zoe Wanamaker, Kathy Lett, all of the stars stripped off to pose with the dead creatures.
Right. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
If it's not bad enough that you're being fished to make, like, fish and chips, being fished to be placed upon an ageing actress's woo-woo, something else.
There's something fishy going on here.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, it's busy anti-clockwise from junction 21 for the M1 to 19 for the A41 at Watford, and the M11 northbound is got the exit slip road at junction 6 for the M25 closed for barrier repairs after a lorry overturned there, and there's also a fuel spillage. In Hoddesdon on the A10, that's busy southbound from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards Turnford. In Palmer's Green on the North Circular Road, there are queues from Great Cambridge Road to the Clockhouse interchange, and in High Wycombe on the A40, there's roadworks going on at Wendover Way on Marlow Hill, so that could cause some delays to your journey when it gets busier. On the trains, Great Northern have delays through Finsbury Park and Moorgate because of faulty fireside equipment at Moorgate, but the London Underground is taking tickets for reasonable routes, it says. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you. 6:45, these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A man from Milton Keynes has begun raising money to pay for his own assisted suicide. Women in Hertfordshire who still smoke while pregnant are being told to give up the habit. And the government is speeding up plans to double the amount of free childcare for working parents. Let's get the weather. Here's Elizabeth.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hiya, it's looking like it's going to be really quite
Right,
nice.
hang on a second. Hang on a second, Elizabeth.
You sounded like my aunties in Salford then.
Well, you can't.
Hiya!
We're the BBC. You can't start a weather bulletin with Hiya! You can't.
Sorry, it's Monday morning. I'm feeling a bit delirious. I've been on for the last 5 days.
Hiya! Shall we? I tell you what,
She's going to end with see ya.
Shall we try and do a more appropriate BBC start? Right, hang on a second.
I'll find my BBC voice.
Hang on a second.
in the
Let's get this right. Okay, hang on a second. Right, it's time to get the weather. Here's Elizabeth.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Very good morning
Brilliant.
to you. Well, we've got some brighter spells around this morning. We've also got some spells of sunshine, but that will be fairly limited in nature. We're going to see the winds increasing through this afternoon, also the cloud increasing, and we'll see afternoon highs of around 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. That's cool for this time of year. Now, ironically, today is the first day of the meteorological summer, but it's going to be feeling distinctly autumnal by the time we get into this evening, because it will turn very wet and very windy through tonight's rush hour. So some poor driving conditions a bit later on. Through the course of the night, we could be looking at some gusts of up to 40 to 45 miles an hour, and there'll also be lots of heavy rain as well. So a truly grotty start to the day tomorrow. Now, we're looking at quite a mild start, 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, but it will be wet and it will still be very windy too. The winds easing down by tomorrow afternoon, and that rain pushing off to the east, but still a few dribs and drabs into the afternoon. Then some sunny spells to end the day. From Wednesday onwards, it does get really good. We'll see an area of high pressure build to the south of us, and that's going to give us some very settled weather. So it looks like it's going to be mostly dry and sunny and really very warm. In fact, we could see temperatures into the mid-20s by the time we get to Friday, also with the possibility of some thundery showers at times. See ya!
No one can blame you for walking away. Too much rejection, no love injection. Life can't be easy. It's not always well. Don't tell me truth hurts, little girl. 'Cause it hurts like hell, it hurts like hell. But down in the underground, you'll find someone true. Down in the underground, a land serene, a crystal moon. It's only forever. Not long at all. Lost and lonely. That's underground, underground. Daddy, get me out of here. I'm underground. About a place where nothing ever hurts again. Daddy, get me out of here. I'm underground. Please take me down. I'm underground. Daddy, get me out of here. No one can blame you for walking away. Too much rejection, no love injection. Down in the underground, you'll find someone true. Down in the underground, a land so green, a crystal moon. It's only forever.
Morning, guys. Ian Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Gosh, what a mix. Well, we've talked about assisted dying, naked cycling, and, oh, man, somebody's stolen all of my clips. Well, not all of them. For example, I can't play this, but I can play this.
So boobs is not...
OK. So if you want to help us, you can request clips to see if we've got them. Mark's in Bletchley. Morning, Mark.
Morning, Ian. I thought I'd get in the rabbit hour before 7 o'clock comes, but it never happened.
The first hour of the show, guys, after 7, it never happened.
You won't hear this on any other radio station, will you?
In it, though. In it.
That's right.
In it, though, Mark. In it.
That's right.
In it.
Right.
In it. What do you want, Mark?
Right, I've got a few. I want to hear, is Spenlove, who says, I do want to read emails and I aim to retire.
Hang on.
That one on there.
Hang on a second.
Fingers crossed.
Let's keep our fingers. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
I am going to retire.
Yes! Yeah.
Result.
Because I'm not going to sit here all night reading emails.
Result. Spenlove is still there, unfortunately.
What about J-Dog taking it to the streets?
Oh, now, it's there. A lot of the J-Dog stuff has gone. Dog. A lot of it has gone, I'm afraid.
What about Gap Year Scoins?
Oh, look at you. You know all the hits.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it about a gap year?
It's there, but there's a weird echo on it. Where's that echo coming? Maybe it's your phone. All right, go on. Give us one more.
What about the guy that says everything for free?
Oh, now he is there because I've got him I've got him somewhere different. Hang on a second. I've snuck him. Where is he? Hang on. Where have I put him?
It's Jan and Kelly record there as well, who he didn't.
No, Jan and Kelly is... You know what? You need to get a life, mate, if I'm honest. You know too much about this stuff. The Jan and Kelly is actually on record. I've got that on record, but...
It's on Philip's label, isn't it? I used to have it as a kid.
Mate, Stuff for Free is gone. Stuff for Free in my secret stash has gone, Mark. This is... Thank you, Mark. This is outrageous, Graham.
Hello, mate.
Hello, fella. What you got?
A request for the Liverpool picture moving.
Hang on a minute. I've seen that around somewhere.
I said my Liverpool kit's just moving by itself.
I've forgotten that one, Graham. Yeah.
That's just brilliant. Can you not play all of it here?
That's all I've got. Justin?
Do you know what? This is so depressing. We're moving to Dunstable, and you're telling me right now all of my little gems, which I've collected over the past 3 years, they've been wiped.
Urinal section has gone.
What?
The crumpet song, Want to Touch, this is still here.
I don't do a programme about Adolf Hitler.
But your boring voice has gone.
What?
It's like we paid a terrible removal company to pack up our stuff and they've just smashed a load of boxes.
Yeah, loads of your stuff has gone, Deals, I'm afraid.
I'm actually going to cry this week. Well, this is actually my last week, my last full week left in the building in Luton, and already I've come in this morning. The radio car's in the car park, it's not in the garage, it's not being charged up, it's like it's in God's waiting room, and now you're telling me all my clips have gone. Great.
It's a sad day. Graham, listen, I appreciate your support in these dark days. We may have to get you to recreate them all, Justin. Hey, here's a good one. You mentioned God. Here's a good one for you.
Yeah, go on.
How mother who art in heaven. The church women who want to refer to God as a she. This is in the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail are outraged by this. A group of women in the Church of England want to start referring to God as she to combat sexism.
I think it's just gone politically correct.
With critics deriding the proposal as a case of...
I think it's just gone politically correct.
Political correctness gone mad. Former Tory MP and all-round sensible woman, Anne Widdecombe, who left the church following the decision to ordain women priests, calls the proposal plain silly and the work of a few lunatics. But the women priests argue that using he suggests men are closer to God. I don't see a problem with calling God he, she, it.
It's a divine being. It's got no bits, has it?
It's not like that cyclist on the bike.
God's a he.
What?
God is a he.
What do you think? He's an old fella with a beard?
Hang on a minute. Say that again.
God is a he, not a she. Clip that.
We are clipping it, mate. We're building up a whole...
Listen, I went to church every single week when I was a kid. I went to church, and the thought of me going into church and referring to God as she, I'm sorry, but it is absolute madness.
Why?
Because, well, that's...
Why?
Okay, to give you a fact, okay, if you read anything in the Bible, it refers to God as a he, not a she. So we can't change that.
Okay. Even though when the Bible was written, it was a completely male-dominated society, and women were looked down upon.
Sometimes it's a lamb, so sometimes it's a sheep.
Sheep.
Come on, let's get real here. You're not honestly saying that by referring to God as a he, that's a form of sexism. Is that what you're saying, boss?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Can you take that to the streets?
I think so, but I think I know what people are going to say.
Well, it depends who you talk to.
Depends what you ask them.
Why don't we talk to people who go to church every week and see what they've got to
Because
say?
then we know what they're going to say. But yes, Justin.
Well, surely those are the people that count, because people who are not religious and don't go to church, why should their opinion count on something like this?
But
God still loves them.
Yeah, your opinion doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
By your own reckoning.
You just had one right on the radio.
And it doesn't count?
No, I'll tell you what.
Admit to me.
Okay.
Admit to me that your opinion doesn't count. Say, my name is Justin Dealey and my opinion doesn't count.
You want a fresh clip, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it, as your name's above the door. Okay. My name is Justin Dealey and my opinion doesn't count. God is a he, not a she. Clip that.
I just did. Justin, speak to you later on, mate.
Take care, boss.
Ta-ta.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's busy on the M25 clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. On the A1M it's slow southbound at junction 7 for Stevenage, and in Hoddesdon on the A10 that's busy southbound from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards Turnford and Roadworks. In High Wycombe on Easton Street there's resurfacing work going on at Crendon Street, so that could cause some delays as it starts to get busier. And on the trains, Great Northern are suspended between Finsbury Park and Moorgate because of safety checks being made.
I'm not gay.
Tickets are being accepted on the London Underground. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Do you want to feel my arms?
Thank you, Justin.
Where's my wood? Where's me woody?
Oh, I don't know.
Touch me, touch me. I want to feel your body. Ooh, touch me.
I think I've just sexually harassed a female colleague by proxy. I think that's what's happened. And we're climbing out the rabbit hole, guys. The first hour of the show never happened, all right?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: a man from Milton Keynes raising money to pay for his suicide. Pregnant mothers in Hertfordshire told to stop smoking, and plans to double free childcare to start early.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A man from Milton Keynes is trying to raise money to pay for his assisted suicide. Roger Bailey had a tumour removed from his back in 2012, but it's left him in constant pain. Matt Lockwood reports.
The operation to remove the tumour from Roger's back left him with severe nerve damage. He's been told the pain he's experienced since can't be stopped, and at the age of 66 he wants to end his own life. Roger is hoping a method known as crowdsourcing will mean that he can pay for his treatment with Dignitas, as well as funeral and flight costs.
A new campaign is encouraging women in Hertfordshire to quit smoking while pregnant. Figures show 1,000 babies in the county are born to mums who smoke each year. The county council says that figure could be much higher, as many smokers don't tell their GP or midwife they smoke. The government is speeding up its plans to double the amount of free childcare available for working parents. Pilots offering 30 hours of care each week for 3 and 4-year-olds will begin next September, 12 months earlier than planned. But Neil Leach from the Preschool Learning Alliance says the system is already overloaded.
We've already started to see some of our nurseries and childminders refuse to participate in the scheme for the 15 hours. I think what government has relied on and have frankly got away with is the goodwill of providers on the first 15 hours of free childcare and the ability of parents to make up that shortfall.
Friends and family have been paying tribute to 3 people who died on the old A421 in Bedfordshire on Friday. 16-year-olds Lewis Cook and Marie-Anne Wykes from Marston Mortain and 32-year-old Genevieve Reason from Woburn Sands were killed when their car collided with a lorry. A British-led clinical trial suggests 2 cancer drugs used together can shrink tumours in nearly 60% of people with advanced melanoma. Here's our health reporter, James Gallagher.
Our body's defences are skilled at fighting infection, but there are many breaks built in to stop the immune system attacking our own body. And cancer, a corrupted version of healthy tissue, can take advantage. Ipilimumab and nivolumab take the brakes off. An international trial on 945 patients with advanced melanoma showed 58% had shrinking tumours with the therapy, which prevented the cancer progressing for nearly a year. British doctors said the results were very significant and showed immunotherapy had a big future.
In sport, New Zealand lead England by 338 runs at the start of the 4th day of the second test at Headingley. Both sides scored 350 in their first innings. And the weather will be sunny at first this morning, but turning cloudy this afternoon with rain by this evening. Top temperatures today around 16 degrees Celsius, that's 43 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
My name is Justin Dealey, and my opinion doesn't count.
Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show this morning. Do you mind if God is referred to as a she? Well, Justin's offended by that prospect. But, I mean, why? She, him, it, that. Does it make any difference? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Busy show this morning, guys. Busy show this morning. And we've already had, quite a lot of feedback about this next story. A Milton Keynes gentleman is hoping that you might be able to help him with a rather unusual fundraising project. He's crowdfunding a trip to Dignitas. 66-year-old Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but he is in constant pain following the removal of a tumour back in 2012. Roger joins me now. Morning, Roger.
Good morning, Ian.
You're not terminally ill.
That's correct, yes.
Why do you want to end your life?
Well, I've been going downhill since we last spoke about 15 months ago, and my mobility is reducing by the month, and the pain level is going up by the month as well. It's with me all day and every day and all night and every night.
I'm going to ask you a question that's probably impossible to answer, but let's have a go. How bad is the pain?
Yes, it is very, very difficult. It's all relative to varying people to actually get a pain threshold. The only way I can describe it is that it's like having a strong man giving you a Chinese burn from the inside of your leg.
Right.
And when that happens, it shoots all the way up to my back and then into my buttocks, and it's in that area which is really the main discomfort.
And how constant is the pain? Is it always there? Are there periods when it's not there?
Every step I take is painful, and then it increases when the strong man gives me a Chinese burn to the point where it takes your breath away, and sometimes you feel sick. Another friend of mine on Friday described it as perhaps 2 live wires, broken live electrical wires shorting out, and we all know what that looks like. So, and that is a very good way of describing it, because it is shocks of pain. The leg pains last maybe 5, 6, 7 seconds, but when they run up to my back area, then I get a feeling like I've got a golf ball increasing to the size of a tennis ball for about 3 or 4 hours after that.
This is because of the operation you had? These are trapped nerves, is it?
No, they are literally broken nerves.
Okay.
The tumour broke the nerves like you break a rubber band.
Oh, blimey.
And they're tapered because of the break, and they try and tether themselves together again, but more often they're tethering themselves for a short period of time to other parts of the body and to other nerves, and that's what causes these sharp attacks of pain. And in fact, for the last 6 months, it's been worse when I'm in bed than when I'm when I'm up and around. And I say up and around. In the last couple of months, I've had to start using the stick inside the house, whereas before I was furniture walking. And I can see myself going downhill rapidly, and I really don't want to go into institutional care. I mean, if you look at the Daily Telegraph's headline on Friday, second-class NHS for over 70s.
What pain relief are you getting?
I'm not. I've tried amitriptyline under prescription, obviously, which sends me like a zombie till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I got switched to gabapentine, and that has horrible side effects. It makes you want to jump in front of the first train. And I came off that after 3 weeks, and it took me 3 months to get that stuff out of my system.
Yeah.
You know, there are various people that there was an actor who had a bad accident on set, and he was put on tramadol for 3 years, and he said it just completely destroyed his life when he came off it.
I was on tramadol for a month. Blimey, I lost that month. That month has just disappeared up in smoke. You know, those the strong painkillers. They're strong painkillers, and they do stuff to you.
Yes, absolutely. And I decided sort of 15, 16 months ago to try and live with the pain, but I didn't realise it was going to get worse and worse and worse. You know, as you know from our last interview, I've led a fairly full and active life, and that comes hard when you can do about now only 10% of what I used to be able to do even 4 years ago.
How old are you, Roger?
66 now.
66,
yeah.
Okay. And you have... This isn't a snap decision. You have decided... You've been thinking this for a long time.
I've originally got in touch with Dignitas after I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2011. And I've had, shall we say, a file and been going backwards and forwards to it. Obviously, when I was rushed into hospital in the middle of 2012, that's sort of 6 months of, you know, where am I type of situation. And I tried when I came out of hospital, but of course I've got all sorts of other problems related to that nerve damage. You know, I've got complete incontinence, and I have to have external methods of dealing with the waste, and I won't go into gory details on a breakfast programme. Your listeners will not like that. So it's not just the nervous damage, it's everything else. I get a lot of infections from having a catheter, and they can be really debilitating and totally disruptive.
Have you, I'm assuming that you've spoken to, you've had therapy or counselling about this, so you've spoken to people about this?
I've spoken to friends about it.
Right.
Some understand exactly where I'm coming from, and others sort of look away, look at the ground, and it's a very much a Marmite situation.
Isn't it just?
You have people supporting you or hating the idea of it, but those that hate the idea of it, you know, there was a guy last week talking about the Jeffrey Spector situation. You know, walk in his shoes for a few weeks and see if you still feel the same way. I find that most of the people that are critical are fit and healthy, and you know, pontificate about care not killing, etc. But it just doesn't happen. I mean, we've got an NHS system that is creaking at the seams, and you know, the thought of going into care is absolutely horrific. When we've all read and heard of the stories over the last couple of years about the abuse, the criminal abuse and neglect that goes on in care homes, and that doesn't matter whether they're state-run or private.
But you've not. I hope you understand. Well, I'm just kind of looking at all angles to this, Roger. You've not had, you know, extended sessions with a trained counsellor who, because some people might argue that if you were to speak to a counsellor or a therapist, that they might be able to help you see, you know, help you see reasons to stay alive.
I feel that I have enough experience of life to be able to work all that out myself, to be honest. And I just feel that it's a personal decision. And I've had a good life, I've had a varied life, a very interesting life, and they can't help me with the quality of care. A therapist can't help on that.
Why Oh, I'm just going to ask some blunt questions because I know you can take it because we've spoken before.
Yeah.
Why Dignitas? Why don't you know, if you're so desperate, why don't you jump off a bridge or something?
Because of the very word you just said, Dignitas, dignity in death. And funnily enough, I was reading yesterday about the number of attempted suicides and the number, and often most of them fail, but leave people either more badly injured or in a vegetable state, and that's just making the problem worse.
How much do you need to go to Dignitas and get the whole kit and caboodle?
It's somewhere in between £16,000 and £20,000 because you do have to have 2 face-to-face interviews, possibly a third, and then of course there's the final trip. It's not something that one can do, overnight.
Yeah, you can't just rock up and go, have you got any appointments free today?
Exactly.
It's a little bit more involved than that.
That's the word I've used, and I was rather disappointed in one of the national press articles where they just quoted the basic cost. What they do, and then criticised me for the level of funding that I was looking for. But what they don't realise, first of all, you've got to start off with a UK medical report. Well, you can't expect the NHS to pay for that, so I have to pay for that privately. That then goes over. Then you have to pay the administration charges for them to look at that report. And so it goes on. And because you're non-domiciled in Switzerland, there are extra costs. Also what the Mail Online article didn't talk about was the fact that the Swiss had VAT. There's all sorts of issues like that. So it will be somewhere between £16,000 and £20,000. I mean, they may well cut down. I've got to have at least 2 face-to-face interviews because that is with therapists and psychiatrists. But sometimes you have to have a doctor's interview as well. But that may well not happen because when he reads all my medical condition, I think that will be more than satisfactory.
And have you set up this crowdfunding? For those who don't know, crowdfunding is generally when, like, musicians or filmmakers or games designers, they want to make an album, they want to make a film, they can't afford it, they'll go on a website and say, look, I need £5,000 to make this, and people kind of pledge money. They sort of pay into this big pot. Have you set up your crowdfunding account yet?
Yes, I have, and it was a suggestion of a journalist who contacted me last Tuesday evening, and she said to me, well, get this up by 10 o'clock tonight, and I'll run an article in the morning on you. And I got an old friend of mine to help me with the IT work because I'm a bit of a dummy with IT, and we got it up and live. But the problem is the national press haven't quoted the site name, so the number of unique hits I checked this morning was about 147, 150. So it hasn't been as successful as she thought it would be.
And has the website is the website cool with this? They obviously would have to, I imagine, veto everything. They're okay with this.
One would imagine they would vet everything that goes in. I mean, it's crowdfunder.co.uk, and one would imagine that they would, and they're based in Cornwall, they have a connection with Plymouth University. You would imagine that they vet everything before it goes up, and I've had no complaints.
Roger, I have to do some business. Nothing rude. I've got to go to the Traveller News. Are you okay to hang on for a little bit?
Yes, of course.
All right, brilliant. Stay there, Roger, because I'm finding this fascinating. Let's push everything back a bit. I know that Stephen is back, and Tony wants to have a word as well. Stay there, gentlemen. We'll get to you in a bit. This is BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 into London is starting to build up from junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handy Cross roundabout, and the M25 is busy anti-clockwise from junction 17 for Maple Cross to 16 for the M40. On the M1, that's slow southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne, and in Markgate on the A5 on the southbound approach to the M1 junction 9 for Redbourne, that's looking quite busy too on the speed sensors. On the A1 southbound, it's slow from the St Neots junction towards the Black Cat roundabout, and on the trains, Great Northern have resumed a normal service again between Finsbury Park and Moorgate after the delays earlier on at Moorgate. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 7:16. A man from Milton Keynes, Roger Bailey, is taking online donations to pay for his own assisted suicide. We'll talk to him more in a few minutes. Figures show that more than 1,000 babies are born in Hertfordshire each year to mothers who smoke while pregnant, and the government is speeding up plans to increase free childcare for working parents.
BBC Three Counties Radio. 0459 455 555.
Okay.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Talking to Roger Bailey, who we've spoken to before. Roger, just explain your condition again, and then we'll kind of, for those who've just tuned in.
Yes, of course. 2012, I was rushed into a hospital, and they discovered that I had a tumour in my spine.
A tumour?
Sorry, a tumour.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. Yes.
What it had done, it had grown and grown and grown, and eventually broken 2 or 3 nerves, just like you'd break a rubber band by stretching it too much. The nerves were wrapped around the tumour, and as it grew, they stretched and stretched and stretched, and then just broke. That left me doubly incontinent, and with a lot of walking difficulties. And gradually the pain has got worse and worse, because these broken nerves are technically called tapered nerves, and they try and tether themselves together, but they're not successful, and they just grab hold of other nerves and other wrong bits in your spinal area, and that creates some sort of electrifying pain attacks. As I said, a friend of mine on Friday described it as like 2 bare wires shorting out, and we all know what that looks like. You've got a lot of sparks and a lot of energy for a very short space of time.
And you've had enough, and you are trying to raise money and you have been trying to raise money for a while so that you can afford to go to Dignitas and end your life.
That's correct.
How much money has the crowdfunding thing raised so far?
I've had 6 donations, and it's just over £100.
Okay, so you're quite a way off.
Yes, and unfortunately that's because when the national press picked up the stories, it was in the Telegraph and various other newspapers, the Mail Online and the Sun. They didn't quote the crowdfunding site.
It could be because of that, Roger, or it could be that people strongly disagree with what you're doing.
Well,
don't support it.
I had a look at the Mail Online's comments section under the article on Friday morning, and out of 61 comments, only 3 were negative.
Okay.
So it's 5%.
Assisted suicide, assisted dying, it always provokes a strong reaction. I've got a couple of calls here. Do you mind if we go to the calls?
Fine.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Let's go to Tony first. Morning, Tony.
Good morning, Ian.
What would you like to say to Roger?
Roger, I'm appalled. Good morning. I'm absolutely appalled at your plight, and I wonder whether you've explored every method of pain relief, including electronic.
Yes, I had a second opinion from a leading neurosurgeon, and he will not put that electronic sensor in my back because I have a 30 to 35% chance of the tumour regrowing between 5 and 3 years. And he says you cannot have MRI scans if you've got that electronic pain control thing in the back.
Right, there is a newer method of attaching the pain relief method that isn't invasive.
Yes, you have something strapped to your back, don't you?
That's right.
Yeah. He didn't think that was going to work either.
Is that like, Tony, is that what, like a TENS machine that pregnant women often, use to ease the contractions?
I imagine so.
Yes, it is, gentlemen. Yeah, it is very much like that, and it's not considered that effective.
Because the TENS machine is I remember, I think my wife tried it. It's a bit hit and miss as to whether it actually works or not.
Well, I've heard extremely good reports about this, and it's
a great suggestion, Tony. We appreciate that. Supposing that didn't work, supposing Roger went for that and it didn't have any effect, have you got any sympathy for the position he finds himself in and the decision he's facing?
Oh, absolutely. I've suffered from depression, and it did seem to me at one point that suicide was the only way out. And I suppose this is similar in that there appears to be no other way out, but explore every single avenue, Roger.
Believe me, I have been, but when you go to a leading neurosurgeon who says, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you, and then takes the trouble to spend 45, 50 minutes, bearing in mind that's on the National Health, to explain exactly what your problems are and why there's nothing anybody could do for me. Broken nerves are just that. They are not repairable.
Yeah.
They are experimenting with stem cell treatment, and they've had some very, very good results on flies, of all things. They've deliberately broken nerve ends and then taken some stem cell out of their wings, and all of a sudden, within a couple of days, those flies are up and back and flying again.
And it's the thing is, Roger, it's not just the pain, is it? It's the quality of life. If you didn't go into specifics, but I make up that you're catheterised and you have a colostomy bag. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
They are very disruptive.
Yeah. So
constant infections as well.
So it's a quality of life issue as well, Tony.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think your suggestion of counselling him, is the possibly one way that will work. Is mind over matter, hopefully.
Tony, I have been going down that route, which is why I stopped having the gabapentin and the amitriptyline, and I've put mind over matter. And you can convince yourself it's not hurting and push yourself through the pain, but it has got rapidly worse over the last 5 to 6 months.
Tony, thank you very much. I'm going to bring Stephen into the conversation, Roger. I spoke to Stephen about an hour ago, and Stephen's back on. Morning, Stephen.
Morning, Ian.
Now, you speak to Roger.
Yes, certainly.
Good morning, Stephen.
Morning, Roger. May I say how elegantly you put that across?
Thank you.
And also, thank you for putting it across. You've enlightened an awful lot of people, and one way I would say you could be of help to the community and society is by letting that be taped and passed around the health service.
Yes, very much so. I think that I'd be more than happy to do that if in fact the health service were interested, which I find I've not had very good experiences, because if I was given the scan that my doctor wanted me to have, I wouldn't have been in this position at all.
Stephen, you don't think that Roger should do this?
Well, Roger has got his own life to lead, and it's ultimately his decision, but I believe we all need to live on this life together. We all need to help each other. And if Roger was to actually leave a tape that could be used as training, could be used as whatever within the health service. So so you're saying don't need to go through this at all.
Okay, so you're saying it is okay for him to want to go and end his life now? Because earlier on, Stephen, you said that it wasn't okay.
No, Ian, you were twisting it to make a show.
No, you said that it was. You said that. Hang on a minute. Someone's tweeted what you said. That until you actually die, there's more to life than life.
Yeah, basically, until you've actually passed over in whatever form, in whatever way,
right,
there is more to life.
Okay, so but now you've changed that slightly, and you're saying
you're well known, Ian, for not listening completely and twisting it to make your show.
Well, I've got to say, Steve, my experience of Ian is nothing but positive. I've got to disagree with you on your
Roger. So, Stephen, just to clarify, because maybe there was some confusion, I thought, and I think all of the listeners thought, that you were saying that Roger was wrong to do this, but now you're actually speaking to him, you're not saying that.
No, what I was saying at the heat of the moment is I had the other end of the story. Because basically, a few years ago, I nearly got taken out of life for a drunk driver at 4 o'clock in the morning. When I got home, shaking like a leaf, I thought to myself, I'd rather died than being left as a vegetable. I then, after having had a cup of tea, thought to myself, those people who come back from war or wherever may have done more in their life in the second part of their life than they have done in their first part of their life.
Okay, it's not clarified anything, Stephen, but I appreciate you coming back on. I really do. Thank you, and I'm sorry if there's been any miscommunication. You mentioned your friends, Roger.
Yes.
I really appreciate you sticking around, because I find this absolutely fascinating, and I'm trying to... I know exactly where my thoughts lie on this, and I'm trying to be as impartial as possible. Have any of your friends got angry with you and kind of said, you know what, if that's your plan, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm out of here.
Well, I've got a very, very good friend who I've known since I was 19 years old, and he was almost like that to begin with. But guess what? He's offered to take me there.
Oh, wow.
Now, he's come round, he's thought about it, he's listened to what I've got to say, and he's watched me deteriorate over the last couple of years. And he's prepared to take me there now. Because one of the problems is, with the stomach colostomy, it would be very difficult to fly. And so it's going to have to be a road journey.
Oh, blimey.
Yes, it would be...
It gets worse and worse.
It does, yes. And on top of that, I had a car accident at the end of this January, which possibly has been one of the problems, that it's the level of pain and discomfort and lack of mobility. It seems to have accelerated since then. I have to say it wasn't my fault, but trying to get third-party claims. Well, they've admitted liability, but trying to get the claim sorted out is.
Oh, don't! I'm about to go through this. Let's take one more call on this, Roger, and then we'll let you go. Marion's on the line. Morning, Marion.
Good morning.
You're through to Roger.
Good morning, Roger.
Good morning, Marion.
Let's put it this way: in 1953, I had polio. It's now come back to bite me. I have been in pain for nearly 40 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And God only knows you've only been in pain for 3 or 4 years. You have to learn to live. You are standing, you are walking, you are living.
But I am not standing very well. I'm not walking very well.
I have shrunk 4.5 inches.
Oh, my goodness.
I cannot stand up straight. I have scoliosis. All my nerves, as you said, your nerves are broken. My nerves are dying. So I am bending forward. I look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
But Marion, we can't. It's not really fair to play illness poker, is it? I'm worse than you.
I don't mean that, but I mean to say I embrace life. I tell everybody why I'm walking, why I bend over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I embrace it because I think, quite honestly, I am living. I see sun. And if you're in pain, you're in pain. You have to do what they call pain management. You have to talk to somebody. You have to sort of know when you're going to be in pain, know when you're going to know when you need to walk, know when you need to sit on the couch for 3 or 4 hours a day, know when you're going to. I have 2 hours sleep a night on occasions.
But why, Marion? Why should he have to put up with that? If he doesn't want to put up with that, why should he?
Because he's alive.
But he doesn't want to be.
Okay, then fine.
It's a question of the quality of life, Marion, and it's not one that I. Yeah, you're happy with your quality of life. I'm not, and I think we have to differ.
I think that's a coward's way out. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, hang on, Marion.
Yes.
You're calling Roger a coward?
Yeah, he should. He's got to learn. No, he's got to learn. Get some pain. I know. I tried tramadol. They're useless. I mean to say, I had to come off them within 3 or 4 days because I knew.
But why has he got to learn to live with that?
Because if you're alive, I mean to say, let's put it this way. Why do I mean, I could go outside and say, oh, I want to go and kill myself because I'm in pain all the time. I'm doing this, but I'm not. I like to see the sun. I like to know that I'm alive. And quite honestly, it's just one of those.
And that's you, and that's great that's you, and that's great that you've made that decision, Marion.
Does it not come down to personal, individual choice?
Yes, I know, but I still think it's very sad that you want to end your life.
It's very sad.
Okay, I'm not happy about it. I would far rather not be doing it, but the fact is that I cannot face going into institutional care.
You haven't spoken to it. Neither can I. But you haven't spoken to anybody. You haven't. You say, "Oh, I've got to use a stick walking around the house." So what?
Well, no, I don't mind using the stick walking around the house. The reason I was mentioning this is because that is the level of deterioration in my mobility over the last 6 to 7 months.
Yeah. And it'll get worse.
Yes.
But, I mean to say,
which is not what I want. And I don't want to live like. I've lived a very full and active life.
Don't you think I have?
I don't know.
Can I ask?
I was a dancer up until
Marion,
a month ago.
Can I ask you? You seem really intent on kind of getting one over on Roger.
No,
I've got it worse. I've lived a life, and I think
honestly, as I say, I think he should embrace life and try and live with it. I mean,
not everyone can do that, though.
There are lots of people I know. A great magician who has to be carried on stage now because he can't walk, because he can't feed himself, because
he can still do magic.
He's still got brains. Yes, he can
still do card tricks.
Yes.
Incredible. Marion, listen, I've got to move on because
embrace life, young man, because you only live it once. You'll never live it again.
Marion, thank you very much indeed.
Well, I think, Iain, there's the Marmite situation.
Yeah. I got uncomfortable when she called you a coward. How did that make you feel?
I've been called all sorts of things throughout my whole life. It's like water off a duck's back, and I would, if you like, allow that to happen because I know how strongly some people feel about it, and particularly those that feel like Marion, who have got health problems. They do become more intense if they're determined to carry on living.
Roger, I certainly don't think you're a coward. I think you're a very brave man for bringing this issue up and for sticking around and taking those phone calls. It's always really interesting to talk to you, Roger. And selfishly, I hope we get to have a few more conversations over the years, to be honest.
As we said, it's not going to be a situation of rocking up and handing a ticket in. It is going to take months to get organised. So
you pull one of those, number 62, go to booth B now, please. Your termination is ready. Roger, thanks very much.
OK, thanks, Ian.
Thank you very much indeed. It's Roger Bailey. I find him fascinating. And he's not nuts. You know, he's obviously a very rational, intelligent man. You know, he's not some dribbling fool who's spouting nonsense. I mean, but he sounds like he's with it and he knows what he wants.
Why is it so controversial for someone to say they've had enough? Older people do it all the time, you know.
Interesting, Marion called him a coward. That made me very uncomfortable. But your thoughts on that, please. 08459 455 555. We're late. Thank you for your patience. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1, it's busy southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne, and the A1M is busy around junction 7 for Stevenage. On the M25, that's busy anti-clockwise between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. In Hoddesdon on the A10 southbound, that's slow from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards Turnford, and on the A1 southbound, it's looking busy from the St Neots junction towards the Black Cat roundabout. Looking at the train departure boards, there's no reports of any problems at the moment, and Great Northern have a normal service again running between Finsbury Park and Moorgate after the safety checks being made earlier. Samantha Brough, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you. Your thoughts on that, please? Also, whether God... Is it offensive to call God a she? 08459 455 555. 7:33. Let's get the news with Lee.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. A man from Milton Keynes is trying to raise money to pay for his assisted suicide. 66-year-old Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but has been left in constant pain after the removal of a tumour. A new campaign is encouraging women in Hertfordshire to quit smoking while pregnant. Figures show 1,000 babies in the county are born to mums who smoke each year. Friends and family have been paying tribute to 3 people who died on the old A421 in Bedfordshire on Friday. 16-year-old Lewis Cook and Marianne Wykes from Marston Mortain and 32-year-old Genevieve Reason from Woburn Sands were killed when their car collided with a lorry. The weather will be sunny at first this morning but turning cloudy this afternoon with rain by this evening. Top temperatures today around 16 degrees Celsius. That's 43 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
New Zealand's cricketers are on top against England in the second test at Headingley. The tourists closed day 3 on 338 for 6 in their second innings with a lead of 338 runs. England bowling coach Otis Gibson says it was a difficult day's play for Alistair Cook's side.
The Kiwis have put us under a lot of pressure the way they played, the attacking sort of cricket that they've played, both in the first innings and this innings. We haven't been as good as we can be. And we've played ourselves into a hole, but I think it's a hole that, there's still a lot of time in the game, so they'll have to be careful, mindful of that also. And but we're behind the 8 ball a bit.
In rugby, England got a 73-12 win over Barbarians at Twickenham. Head coach Stuart Lancaster included 10 players from his squad for the World Cup and was impressed with the way his side performed.
I think a lot of people might say the Barbarians didn't play that well, but I'll counter that and say I thought we got our defence right. We had good shape in attack, and obviously with the strike runs we had on turnover ball, we were deadly. So just delighted really, because the boys have really worked hard all week. Some guys first time here at Twickenham playing for England, and those guys like your Josh Beaumonts and your Mark Wilsons have had great Premiership seasons. Just really pleased for them.
Jessica Ennis-Hill has qualified for the heptathlon in Rio next year. She finished 4th of the Hypo meeting in Austria.
Generally really pleased with my score. I didn't quite expect to score that high. Disappointed with a few events just because it's so far away from my best, but yeah, a lot of work to be done when I get home, but a really promising start to the season.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 8 o'clock.
Call 08459 455 555.
Right. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Roger's got me thinking. I'm sure he's got you thinking as well. I hope it's provoking good conversation. One thing that's got me thinking is, let's couch this in quotation marks, and if what Roger said happened actually happened. He suggested that a reporter from a local newspaper put
And we
the
know which
idea
one.
we put the idea of the crowdfunding in his head, and he said something along the lines of, a reporter suggested to me I crowdfund assisted suicide, and she said if you do it by 10 o'clock tonight, we can run the story. So what Roger said, and I'm being really careful how I say this, we've not named the paper, have we? So
No.
okay, what Roger said was the idea to crowdfund the suicide came from a local journalist. And it was told if you do it by 10 o'clock tonight, we'll get it in the paper tomorrow. The ethics of that make me the ethics of that make me incredibly uncomfortable. Suggesting, if indeed that's what happened, to someone who wants to end their life, hey, well, why don't you crowdfund it, and then I can run a story on it?
It's putting the deadline on it and making it about the story.
It's
now.
It's a weird. It's like it's kind of. I'm extrapolating slightly. Hey, why don't I drive you to Switzerland and I'll write a story about it? You can't get to Switzerland? Oh, I'm going there. I'll take you.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Listen, it's his decision. I'm not in any way suggesting he was coerced into it.
And he's completely, obviously, you just heard him there. He's completely rational.
Yeah.
But
so
he's in a vulnerable position.
He's obviously come up with, but you do wonder if a journalist had said that to someone who was more vulnerable and more malleable than Roger. He sounds determined, he knows what he wants. But if they'd suggested that to someone who was not quite so coherent, so with it, it's a weird thing. Any of the Nationals want to have a look into that? Any of the Nationals want to go and speak to that person and just get that story straight? Because that, to me, is a story. Journalist encourages. Anyway, this is going off.
Maybe we've got the wrong end of the stick.
Maybe we have. We're only going by what we were told, and if we've got the wrong. Any texters?
We have, yes.
Go on, give us a few texters, then we'll speak to. We need a bit of deals after that, I think.
Here we go. Shirley says, I live with constant pain. I have arthritis in my spine and almost every part of my body. I've learnt to live with it and can only take cocodamol.
Okay, strong painkiller, yes.
I mean, but everyone's experience is different.
Yep.
I don't know what you can draw from that.
When I asked him, what does the pain feel like? He said, well, it's all comparable, isn't it? One person's pain is another person's.
But also, it's the fact that he feels he's living
Not
without
pain.
dignity, I think, was a major factor.
Yes. Kelly, you right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you like that? One person's pain is another person's not pain?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's true, that.
It's true.
That's worthy of Confucius.
Thank you very much.
Darren says, if God was a lady person...
Oh, here we go, yeah.
This is where we're bringing Delia in.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they refer to her as a goddess? God is the masculine word, surely.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I was too busy thinking about the magician that Marion was talking
He has
about.
to be carried on.
He sounds great. I want to go. When's he playing? I'd like to go and see. I love magic.
You shouldn't laugh.
No, I love magic.
But can't you levitate? Ooh.
Justin!
I love the magic.
Honestly, I used to run a variety night in North London, and I made sure that every month we had a magician on, because when I see magic, I become like a 12-year-old boy. I just get a big... There's a great magician, Pete Heat. He's taller than me.
He's called Pete Heat.
He's called Pete Heat. He's 6'7". Well, let's get him in one day. Magic on the radio. Trust me, it works. He's brilliant. He's 6'7", right? And he looks like a bit of a stoner. I'm sure he's not. And he is brilliant. He's so good. I mean, he's so good. Why this guy isn't, world famous, I don't know, because he's amazing.
Well, a few years ago that there were these TV shows, How You Do Magic, and it shows you how the tricks are created. I always refuse to watch those programmes because it takes away, as you say, the magic.
Yeah. I don't want to know how they do it. I want to know how they do it, but I don't want to know how they do it. Tell me how they do it. No, don't tell me. Oh, let's get Pete Heat on the show. Someone tweet him and we'll get him on because he's brilliant. I know it's magic on the radio, but
I've always thought though, you know how they create money. Sometimes sometimes they have a card in their hand and suddenly that turns into a £20 note.
Yes.
Well, if it was that real, surely there'd be multi-millionaires. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, mate. But it's not real. It's a trick.
But if you can make money out of a card, well, quid's in.
Yeah, but it's a trick.
Yeah, but if you can turn a card into a £20 note, I'm being serious. If you can do that, where's the £20 note come from then?
It's a trick.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Well, you've made this week's podcast very early.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Say it again.
Okay. If you've got a magician in front of you, okay, and he has got a card in his hand and he can turn a card into money, why is he not a multi-millionaire? Answer that, because you can't.
I can, mate. It's a trick.
Well, if it's a trick, why not trick every few seconds and make all that money?
Justin, it's a trick, love.
He's already got the money.
It's his own 20 quid.
Oh, so you say.
Well, so does the law of science.
Is he an adult?
The thing is, he actually...
Of course he is.
Justin.
It's a trick.
Are you telling me you've not had the same thought?
No. Not since I was about 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trick.
Okay, it's a trick.
He's probably got the £20 note shoved up his sleeve or in his under his
But
thumb.
what if he's not?
Well, it's a trick. Bearing in mind, Catherine, this is a man whose head was almost blown off by the flyaway Peter, flyaway Paul.
Yeah.
Come back, Peter. Come back, Paul.
I might have to tweet the Dogs Watch Magic thing again because it was a very similar experience.
Magic gets to me. Okay?
Yeah.
It's something I can't handle.
No, you can't. And now I understand why you're so angry about some vicars wanting to call God a she.
I'm not angry about it. I'm not angry.
There's magic and illusions and tricks seem to confuse you.
I'm not angry. I'm just saying, a story in today's papers about referring to God as a she. You can campaign as much as you want, but that ain't never going to happen.
I just say, we've gone from speaking to Roger, a very dignified, intelligent conversation, to you asking why magicians aren't millionaires when they can turn cards into money. So some people want to call God a she.
Yeah.
You've taken this to the street.
I have taken this one to the streets, and earlier on, I think at about, 5 to 7 this morning, you were saying, forgive me if I'm wrong here, you were saying this was the way forward. We should be referring to God as a she. You were saying that, weren't you, boss?
I don't know if you say so, Justin. Yeah, sure,
you
why
were
not?
saying that. So I've taken this one to the streets. It's in the Daily Mail today. The Daily Mail at... What?
Why aren't they... Such a twit. Oh, go on.
Some of them are multi-millionaires, by the way.
We know how they do it. They just sit in their hotel rooms. Get me another pack of playing cards. I need another £1 million. Yeah. There's 20. There's 20. Got no cards, but they got loads of money. Justin, please.
Another thought. Mediums. If they're so clever and they know what's going to happen, why don't they always win the National Lottery?
Oh, because
There's
mediums talk to dead people. You're thinking of psychics. Right, I've got to do this now. We'll come back to you in a second.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, there's the travel.
In Ware on the A10 southbound, it's very slow from the Hertford turn off towards the Great Cambridge Road at the New River Arms roundabout. That's because of the roadworks. In Bournemouth on the A1, that is queued southbound from the Holiday Inn towards Barnet Lane at Stirling Corner. And on the motorways, the M25 has queues anti-clockwise from junction 21 for the M1 to 16 for the M40. It's also busy on the M1 southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne. And the M40 towards London is slow just before junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handy Cross roundabout. Looking at the train departure boards, and there are no delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Samantha, thank you so much. Hang on, thank you. I mean, oh dear. All those clips I lost, I pretty much got more than I need. 7:45. It's Monday, the 1st of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A man from Milton Keynes is taking online donations to pay for his own assisted suicide. Figures show that more than 1,000 babies are born in Hertfordshire each year to mums who smoke while pregnant, and the government is speeding up plans to increase free childcare for working parents. We will get to hear Justin's report on he-she gods, but before that, let's get the weather with Elizabeth.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. We've got some brighter spells out there this morning. There will be a little bit of limited sunshine, but always quite a lot of cloud, and that cloud's increasing as we head into the afternoon. Lots of dry weather about too, but you might just catch one or two showers that may crop up here and there, particularly for parts of Buckinghamshire as we head into the afternoon. But that's just a risk, and many places will stay dry until we get to this evening. Now we're looking at afternoon highs of around 15 Celsius, 59 in Fahrenheit. It's really quite cool for this time of year, and the wind is going to be picking up into this afternoon, really becoming a feature of tonight's weather. So turning wet and windy through tonight's rush hour. The rain and the wind spreading in from the west. Heavy bursts of rain at times and some strong gusts of wind. We could be looking at around 40 to 45 miles per hour, some of the gusts. So a very grotty start to the day tomorrow, really rather grim. We're looking at starting off the day in around 10 or 11 degrees, so it will feel quite mild, but it won't be very nice. And it will probably keep raining, just outbreaks of light rain and drizzle through the course of the morning. That front eventually pushing off as we head into the afternoon, and the winds eventually easing down too. We'll see the peak of the winds overnight. Afternoon highs tomorrow of around 16 degrees, that's 61 in Fahrenheit. Things will brighten up, I think, by the time we get to the end of the day, and then from Wednesday onwards it's really quite good. We'll see temperatures climb by the time we get to the end of the week. We could be looking at the mid-20s, so we could be looking at the warmest day of the year so far. There'll be plenty of sunshine around. Just with the heat and the humidity, we may just see a few thundery showers pop up here and there as we head into Friday. That's the forecast.
If you've missed any of the programmes here on BBC Three Counties Radio, you've missed things like this.
Did the drugs in his mouth kill him?
No, they didn't.
Okay. Did they play a part in his death?
He had 4 glasses of champagne, 2 bottles of wine, 4 cocktails. What's 2 French?
I have a feeling it was a cocktail as well.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
And Renata Blower, you have just allowed the first ever nurse to be funded for Great Ormond Street who will deal specifically with children who have undiagnosed conditions.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
Well, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire, Ollie Martins, joins me in the studio. Were you wrong to go ahead with this referendum?
But what was the alternative? As I've said, that was not a situation that I was prepared to just sit there and do nothing about.
Allowing you to listen to what you missed. bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Justin.
Yeah.
Magic to one side.
Yeah. People agree with me, and you know they do.
Well, I'd love you to take that to the street for the last hour, mate.
Okay, no problem.
Would you?
So what's the question? If
anything you want, brother.
Okay.
But
no
about
problem.
magicians, if they're so good at magic, why aren't they all millionaires? Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a story in the papers that a group of women in the Church of England want to start referring to God as she. I don't see a problem with that. Mm-hmm. I think it's not a bad idea. He, she, it, that, what, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've taken this to the streets.
I have.
Yeah. Okay.
And just a reaction I thought would be coming in this morning. I've been asking people about this story, people referring to God as a she, because it's a form of sexism, referring to God as a he. Here's what people had to say.
Total madness. The Bible referred to God as a he. It's unimaginable.
Okay, just lastly, if people started referring to God as a she in your local church, would you refuse to go?
It's never going to happen.
But if it did happen, would you refuse to go?
It's never going to happen.
But if it did happen, would you refuse to go?
It will not happen.
Let me ask you again.
It's a possibility.
Okay. If it was to happen and people started doing that, would you refuse to go?
My church will not be as mad as that at all.
Okay, for the last time, if it was to happen though, would you then refuse to go to church, yes or no?
It's just like asking me if rain stops to fall, will I stop going to the farm?
Okay,
it's never going to happen.
But this has been spoken about in the papers today. Yes or no? Would you stop going to church?
I will not stop going to church because I'm going to change the abnormality. You don't run away from a problem, yeah? You stay there and you solve it. And if this is a problem, I will stay in the church and solve it.
You should be a politician. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. George, you don't go to church every weekend, okay? No. What's your thoughts on referring to God as a she and not a he?
I've always thought it was a he. Well, I've always been brought up that Jesus, or God, was a he.
So if you heard people referring to God as a she, would you think they were absolutely mad?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, thanks, George. Take care.
All right, then.
God as a she. I've always referred to God as a he.
And can you imagine walking into church this weekend and referring to God as a she? Can you imagine doing that?
It's a sacrilege to me.
Okay.
It's not proper.
No. Okay. So those people are offended.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're going to take Magic to the streets?
Yeah. Sudden pause for thought there. You okay?
I'm just know that we're going to go to something a little bit more serious again. I'm just really trying to compose myself, and I'm struggling, Justin.
Well, that was a serious piece there.
I'm thinking the Pete Heat is a brilliant magician. He's brilliant. I'm wondering if I could persuade him to come up one morning and go out on the streets with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And blow your mind.
I was looking at that dog video. We could do the same to Just, couldn't we?
There's a video. What's the video?
I've just tweeted it. Go on YouTube and do dogs watching magic. The look on their face is the same as Justin. Have you worked out Peter and Paul yet, Justin?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. I want you to meet Pete because he's what he can do blows my mind.
It's just something I can't handle. I can't handle people doing magic tricks. And whenever I go to a wedding and you get the magician who comes to the table, I'm like, mate, please, not now. Not now. Seriously, it's a serious day. I've got things on my mind. Not today, son.
I'll see if I can get him up one day and you can take him to the streets because that might be fun. Justin, speak to you later on.
Take care.
Ta-ta. Thank you very much indeed. Just give us a quick recap. We can talk about Roger, haven't we?
Yes.
We'll just remind people
Now, Roger Bailey's from Milton Keynes. He's 66, and since 2012 he's been living in constant pain. He's not terminally ill, but he says he's had enough of the constant pain.
And he's doubly incontinent, and he gets infections a lot as well.
And he feels like he's not living with dignity.
Yeah.
So he is crowdfunding a trip to Dignitas.
Crowdfunding is where you go online and say, I need X amount of pounds to make a film, to release
donate.
an album, to go to Dignitas we've got people, Carpet Martins, discussing the difference between euthanasia and assisted suicide. I can dig that. Steve's on the line. Morning, Steve.
Morning.
What would you like to say?
Yeah, if people want to let themselves go and die, then fair enough. What's wrong with that? I mean, we do it with animals. Animals get hurt. Horses, we put them down.
They shoot horses, don't they?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there are some people that would rather like to disappear. But on a serious note, it's up to them, innit, at the end of the day.
But you've put forward a very simplistic argument. What would you say to those people, Steve, who say, well, Marion couldn't explain why he was... Roger was called a coward by Marion, one of our callers earlier on. And the implication being... Well,
it's not... Taking your own life ain't cowardly. I think you're pretty... Well, I suppose you've got to have some balls to take your own life.
I'm finding it really hard to kind of argue the alternative, because I do think it's kind of your decision.
What I think is interesting is that it's people who are living in pain that have the biggest problem with it. So far, that's been the experience of our phone calls and the texts and stuff, is people find it almost insulting to their battle that someone wants to, in their words, give up.
Steve, I'm agreeing with you more and more these days. Phone up and talk about immigrants or something tomorrow, and then we can have an argument, OK?
Yeah, right.
Ta-ta, thank you very much. You've got some texts on this.
Yeah, I have. This one from Pat.
I'm not gay.
Also, that was inappropriate and that was an accident. Apologies.
Here we go. This is from Pat in Houghton Regis.
Yes.
Not saying that. Saying, I look at Stephen Hawkins and how he's been restricted to a form of paralysis. No. That's what I call a brave man who faces life head on. Okay. The other chap you had on is taking a cowardly way out of life like so many others. You only have one shot at life, so embrace it for what it is.
But what if that shot at life isn't working out for you? What if it isn't, and it's not just, I've had a really rubbish week. It's, he's had years of this. What if it isn't working out for you? Okay, here's the question, I suppose. What right do you have, Pat, to impose that view on somebody else? What right do I have to impose my view on assisted suicide, euthanasia, whatever you want to call it, on someone else? I guess it's all up to the individual. Isn't it?
Here's another thing, and I hadn't thought of this, but Barry says, with regards to Dignitas and crowdfunding, it could be difficult to change your mind once people have committed funds to your cause.
I don't
think he's going to change
I don't think that'll be a problem.
For that reason, I feel a little uneasy about that method to get to Dignitas. But if the NHS was to step in...
Speaking of stepping in, who's this?
Morning.
Morning, Scoins. You all right?
I'm OK. Got a bit of a back spasm, but...
Well, a bit inappropriate after the conversation we've just had, mate, but never mind.
Absolutely.
What are you in here for?
7:50 item, bit late. Sorry.
Well, you've got 2 minutes to do the item. Where were you?
I was stuck in traffic, mate.
OK, well, you've got 2 minutes.
It probably is 2 minutes.
Oh, shall we crack on?
Yeah.
It seems that some of our MPs' supporters are breaking the law. Nice to see you, by the way. Good close shave. I like that. It's illegal for anyone to be displaying election poster boards outside their homes. And our political reporter and timekeeper, Paul Scoins, you've spotted some rogue boards. What's the law and who's breaking it?
The law is the Town and Country Planning Act Regulations 2007, control of advertisements, if you're from other parts of the world. And you have 14 days in which to take your posters down after the day of polling. That was, I think, about 2 Thursdays ago. And there's several of our MP supporters who are breaking the law. I've seen one for Nadine Dorries. I've seen one for Mark Lancaster, the MP for Milton Keynes North. And these people are technically breaking the law.
So the MPs aren't breaking the law. It's the people. It's the supporters. It's Nadine Dorris's and the Mark Lancaster's, the supporters.
Indeed, people.
Not all of them either.
No, people who own the land where the posters are displayed upon. Now, you can actually be fined for this quite a lot. It's £2,500 if you're prosecuted.
Has anyone ever been prosecuted for this?
Not that I'm aware of. I spoke to Milton Keynes Council on Friday and said, look, have you ever prosecuted anybody for this? They said no. I'm not sure. I'm sure it has been done, perhaps not for election posters. Of course, they're given a bit of grace after the election. You know, perhaps in the excitement of celebration of victory, these people have left them up and forgotten to take them down.
So, did you spoke to Milton Keynes Council? They were unaware of these, were they?
They were unaware.
So you grassed some people up.
No, I didn't.
You grassed some people up.
I didn't.
You grassed some politically active people up.
I didn't do
at
that
at a time when political activism is at its lowest.
I didn't do that. No, I'm not a snitch. I've not done that. What I did do was make the MPs aware that some of their supporters are potentially
breaking the law. Breaking the law.
Okay.
And that gave you pleasure?
No, I felt it was a public duty. And one of the MPs has come back to me and said, thank you for letting me know. I shall contact the individual concerned.
And have them shot. I've got a full day's training at the new premises in Dunsterbarlis.
You'll love it.
On Wednesday.
It's very nice.
You had the training last week.
I did.
What time did it finish?
It was just before 3.
Well, OK. Well, what time's that?
Shortly before 3.
2:45?
A bit later than that.
Was it all useful, or was there a lot of, as there often is in BBC training things, guff?
No, it was all useful.
All of it was useful. You scaring Sophie Solaria into thinking there'd actually been an accident on the M1, that was useful, was it? When you were doing a fake phone call to mimic taking a call in the studio, and you said, Sophie, there's been an accident on the M1, and she actually believed it. That was useful, was it?
Well, it was a spur-of-the-moment decision, and it was a recreation of what could happen in real life, and it was intense.
And I bet you earn more than David Cameron, and you've probably had about £7,000 worth of taxis this week. Oh, I hate the BBC.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A1, that's very slow southbound from the St Neots Junction towards the Black Cat roundabout. And in Bournemouth on the A1, there are queues southbound from the Holiday Inn towards Barnet Lane at the Stirling Corner. In Amersham on Gore Hill, that's busy between the A413 and the A40 London Road. And looking at the motorways on the M40 towards London, it's slow just before Junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handy Cross roundabout. It's also busy on the M25 anti-clockwise between Junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. Samantha Burff, BBC Three Counties.
Thank you, Sammy. Oh, man. Well, assisted suicide, magic, and God, he, she, it, really matter? More of your calls after the news with Lee.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: a man from Milton Keynes is raising money to pay for his suicide. Pregnant mothers in Hertfordshire told to stop smoking, and an appeal to clubbers from Bedfordshire following a double stabbing.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A man from Milton Keynes is raising money online to pay for his own assisted suicide. 66-year-old Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but has been in constant pain since having a tumour removed from his back. He says people are very split on what he wants to do.
I've spoken to friends about it. Some understand exactly where I'm coming from, and others sort of look away, look at the ground. But those that hate the idea of it, there was a guy last week talking about the Jeffrey Spector situation. condition. Walk in his shoes for a few weeks and see if you still feel the same way.
Trials of a scheme to double free childcare for working parents will start to be available from next September. The Preschool Learning Alliance says the system faces meltdown unless the government increases the amount it pays to providers of preschool childcare. But Employment Minister Priti Patel insists the government will find the cash to fund the scheme.
It is important that we work alongside them to get the right funding rate so that they can actually provide the free hours. And, we are totally committed to this because of the importance and significance of childcare. So through this task force, we will consult with the providers and ensure that we get the balance of funding right.
A new campaign is encouraging women in Hertfordshire to quit smoking while pregnant. Figures show 1,000 babies in the county are born to mums who smoke each year. Police in Leicester say people from Bedfordshire were at a nightclub in the city when 2 men were stabbed. The attack happened on an outside terrace of the club last Wednesday evening. Sarah Jenkins reports.
Police say coachloads of people from Luton and Leighton Buzzard had travelled to the event at the club called Liquid Envy. The men were stabbed shortly after 2 in the morning and one is still in a critical condition. 2 men, aged 18 and 24, have been arrested on suspicion of grievous bodily harm and remain in police custody.
Friends and family have been paying tribute to 3 people who died on the old A421 in Bedfordshire on Friday. 16-year-olds Lewis Cook and Marie-Anne Wykes from Marston Mortain and 32-year-old Genevieve Reason from Woburn Sands were killed when their car collided with a lorry. In sport, England's cricketers are struggling in the second test against New Zealand at Headingley. The tourists closed day 3 on 338 for 6 in their second innings with a lead of 338 runs. And the weather will be sunny at first this morning but turning cloudy this afternoon with rain by this evening. Top temperatures today around 16 degrees Celsius, that's 43 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.
Morning, guys. Suddenly, it's 3 minutes past 8. What the heck has happened? Oh man, it's been a it's been a great show. Justin has excelled himself. He's confused. If magicians can turn cards into £20 notes, why aren't they all millionaires? Yeah. Oh, man. Would you be offended if God was called a he or a she or an it or a what's it or a whatchamacallit? I mean, it says in the Daily Mail a group of female priests. I mean, I wonder how big that group is. Is it just one voice? I would prefer to refer to God as she. Would you be offended by that? Really? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Got any Texas?
I have, and I've got a thoughtful one from Tony on the canal.
Oh, hello,
I guess
Tony
he's
on
in
the
a
canal.
peaceful place.
Hey, man.
He's the same Tony you spoke to earlier on.
Oh, yeah.
He said, as God is a subjective concept, it's surely genderless.
Man.
He's so zen.
Let me roll another one, man. Let's discuss this for a few more hours.
And Mr. Dealey is a tasselled, tanned, loafer-wearing god. He's such a card. I love him.
All right, Catherine,
Dealey is it the jack of clubs, says Tony.
All right, Catherine, but could you just read the texts instead of living out your own personal fantasies?
Here's another one. Really enjoyed you last Wednesday at the other place.
Oh.
The only thing missing was Kath and Kelly, says Dave from Hertford.
And interesting content. Now, a Milton Keynes man wants... I'm joking, of course, if anyone's listening. A Milton Keynes man wants you to help pay for a trip to Dignitas. Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but he is in constant pain after an operation in 2012 left him with severe nerve damage. Now, at the age of 66, he's had enough, and he set up a crowdfunding project to fly out to Switzerland. We're joined now by disability rights campaigner Mick Scarlett. Morning, Mick.
Morning, Ian.
What do you think about Roger's plan?
Well, I think it's very sad. I mean,
Isn't it?
I kind of feel a lot of sympathy for him because I also had cancer, very much like Mr. Bailey. I was left paralysed, unable to walk. I am also in constant pain, and this happened when I was 15. So quite a lot earlier, so I had a lot of things that I didn't think I'd ever get to do. And I think that what people don't understand is that when you become disabled like this, you grieve for the person you were. And if you're not given the right help and the right support, then what can happen is that you get stuck somewhere along the grieving process. And I know that I got stuck somewhere that I think Mr. Bailey's got stuck, which is kind of between grief and anger. So you're sad that you're the way you are, and you're angry that you're the way you are. And it's very easy then for it to turn inwards. And so then what happens is you start hating who you are and wishing you were dead. I mean, I tried to kill myself, but luckily I didn't manage it. And that then led to me getting support and help. And very soon, I managed to start building a wonderful life for myself. And now I can't even imagine what it would be like not to be who I am. And so I think it really says something. For me, a lot of the media has got a lot of coverage about stories like this. And it really upsets me because it's saying something about being disabled that no other group or no other people have said about them, if you know what I mean. But it's so tragic to be disabled that we should help someone to die. But you don't say that about anyone else.
Is that the narrative? I have not picked up on that narrative at all, that it is in some way a criticism of being disabled.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, if he's saying... Because what you've got to appreciate, this is a man who could quite easily commit suicide himself, so he wants to be assisted.
Yeah. He wants to make sure it works, and he wants to make sure it works. There are a number of people who try to commit suicide, and it doesn't work.
Yes, So he's saying that, and everyone's going, yeah, I understand it, because he's in pain. But no one says that because a woman has got postnatal depression. No one says that because, say, a young gay guy has come out and his family have disowned him, his friends have disowned him, and he's very depressed and he doesn't know what to do. It's time and time again, people say, oh, well, it should be all right for them, and they point at people like me. But what you've got to understand is he is the aberration. It's not normal to want to do that. And we shouldn't be saying, oh, well, we should help him. What we should be saying is, how can we help him get his life back?
But how long do you give it? 6 months, a year, 10 years? How long does someone...
It took me 10 years to get... so that it took me about 3 years to get so I was well enough to start living my life again. Right. It took me...
And that's you, but how long do we... I mean, do we give them 20 years to try and sort themselves... After 20 years, if they've still not sorted themselves out, they're allowed to do it? Well,
I think because the thing is that the point is that many people that talk about this don't actually understand it because they've not gone through it. And the people that we're talking about who are going through it are not being helped and not coping well. So you never hear the story of people like me. You never hear... You don't...
Mick, with the greatest respect, we do. We are now.
But the newspapers have run Mr. Bailey's story all over the place. But they've not run mine. They've not run all the people I know.
Well, but Mick, that argument doesn't work because you're on the radio talking about it, so that story does get out.
Yeah, right,
you didn't make it the papers this weekend.
Not to the same extent. And also, without being funny, there is so much public sympathy for people like this, but there's not an understanding that it is that he needs help, and he doesn't need help to die. He needs help to live.
But supposing that help doesn't work, supposing the pain relief doesn't work,
pain relief doesn't work. Pain relief is not that good.
It's rubbish.
I mean, he's had it for a few years. I've had it for 35.
Why is everybody this morning is trying to play disease, disability, pain top trumps this morning?
Oh, we do. We're terrible.
Oh,
blimey. We all get together and we all get our top trumps out.
Oh,
I've got a friend who's dyspraxic, dyslexic, paraplegic, deaf, blind, and...
Is that all?
And he always wins, so, you know...
But surely it's ultimately...
You see, it's up to the individual, but it's not, though, is it? Because it's not...
But why... why is it not up to the individual? Why is it not up to the individual?
Well, it's not assisted suicide for all, is it? You wouldn't send someone... You wouldn't have you wouldn't feature a story about someone saying, I'm depressed, I've lost my job. You wouldn't say, well, let's send him to... it's absolutely, completely reasonable to send that guy to Dignitas. But everyone seems to think that it's reasonable to send someone who is having trouble coping with a new physicality to Dignitas. And what I'm saying, and what people like me are saying, is that you've got to talk to us, the people that have lived it. And I mean, I would love to talk to Mr. Bailey. I'd love to say, how can I help? Because one of the things that really doesn't
Well, that sounds a bit patronising, doesn't it?
What?
That might be... I mean, I'm sure he might want to talk to you, but that feels a little bit patronising. You know better than he does.
One of the things, Iain, that you don't understand is when you've had cancer, right, what happens is you get all the support while you're being treated, but then when you've been cured, you kind of get less because everyone goes, yeah, you've been cured, isn't it great? And you're left thinking, well, yeah, it kind of is, but my life's not what it used to be. Because, of course, cancer is a very virulent disease that eats away at you, so it can leave different bits not working.
Yeah.
And so society...
But you're saying you know better than him?
No, well, I suppose I'm saying that I've had more experience because I've lived longer. I've lived with it for longer. And I know, I've been where he's been, and I felt that terrible, gnawing... lost.
And you came through it, but not everyone comes through it. And not everyone can come through it.
But this is what I mean. So you think it's okay that some people can't come through it, and so we should assist them to die, but if some people can't come through, say, manic depression, that we don't. We assist them, we medicate them, we help them, we put them in hospital. But only, it seems that society is saying, well, only those people with disabilities, with illnesses, have the right to do this. Now, if you were saying...
Mick, I got to come in, because I think that this disabled tangent that you've taken it on, I think is... I don't know where this is coming from, because I've never viewed it... I've never viewed it as that at all.
It's disabled. Being in chronic pain is a disability.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the story. Then isn't. Hey, you know, disabled people. They should all die. That's not. That's not. Of course, it's not the story.
Right.
Of course, it's not the story. Where have you got that from?
Paul Lamb, Jeffrey Spector. All of these people want to die because they are disabled.
But the narrative isn't. The narrative.
I can't cope with the pain and the other parts of my impairment, and that is what he's saying. He's not saying I'm depressed.
The narrative.
He's saying I can't cope with being disabled because that's what he is.
Mick, the narrative isn't though.
It is.
Mate, it isn't. You're completely wrong. The narrative...
No, I'm not. I'll tell you what, I'm not...
Can I finish the sentence?
How would you like it?
Can I finish a sentence,
saying
Mick?
That you are less than someone else because you have something...
Mick, can I finish a sentence?
Yeah, cool.
Right. The narrative... This is fun, isn't it? You enjoying yourself?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Me too,
I love
good.
talking about this. It's a cheerful subject.
Good morning, guys. Enjoy your breakfast. But the narrative isn't... disabled people are less than. The narrative is some people don't want to continue living because they are
disabled.
No, but that's not the narrative, mate. I don't know why you keep getting that from.
He doesn't want to carry on living because he's incontinent and in constant pain. Well, that's disability.
Yeah, and he's open to infection, and he doesn't want his quality of life.
Disability. That's a disability. That's exactly what a disability is. That's his impairment.
But Mick, you're twisting it into a way that I really cannot see.
Because he's not coping, because he's not being supported.
But then, so where have you got the narrative then that this whole assisted suicide thing is able-bodied people looking down on disabled-bodied people?
Well, have you ever been told if it happened to me I'd kill myself? I have. I get it said regularly. And this is the point.
But that's
people
not about...
passionate about this. People are really passionate, and they go, oh, well, it should be in place. But it's not. It should be in place for everyone.
But it's not saying we should go and kill... No, it's not saying we should go and kill disabled people because they're a pain in the bum, and some of them are.
People that can't cope with being disabled should have a right to kill themselves.
No. This is it. I've got it. You're wrong. You're wrong. People who can't cope with life... People who can't cope with life.
You're not saying that. The law's not saying that. No one is saying that. No one is saying, oh, I'm depressed, I want to kill myself. Why? Because life's a bit rubbish today.
No. Mick, that's offensive against people who suffer from depression. That's not what depression is, and you know that's not what depression is.
No, but that's the point.
Well, then why did you say that? I'm depressed because life's a bit rubbish. That's not what it is.
He's depressed because of something that is tangible, isn't it? He's got a physical issue that is making him depressed, right? So what you're saying is if it's a physical issue, that's fine. But if it's a condition that affects your blood chemistry or your brain chemistry, no, that we'd support them. If it's someone that's depressed because of a loss or because of a change in family circumstance, we'd support them. And I think that's why we worry, because it's very difficult to make someone who isn't disabled understand how it feels and how long it takes to get back to being the person you were. And so...
Mick, I've got to go. Look, stay there. Can you stick around for a bit longer?
All right, mate.
Listen, thank you very much. Stay there, Mick, because I'm enjoying this far more than I should be, and I'm enjoying the sport of having a good argument. Mick, stay there. And Julia, who is a friend of Roger's, or knows Roger, you stay there as well. 08459 455 555. BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A1M, it's slow southbound between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage, and it's also slow on the M1 southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne. On the M25, it's busy anti-clockwise from junction 19 for Watford to 15 for the M4. In Hemel Hempstead, looking on the speed sensors on the A41, that's busy southbound from the Hemel Hempstead turn-off towards the M25 at junction 20 for Kings Langley. The A1 Watford Way is also slow from the Apex corner at Edgware towards the Broadway at Mill Hill Circus, and the A40 London Road in High Wycombe is busy in both directions in and out of High Wycombe. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. We'll speak to JVS after 5:30. We'll carry on talking to Mick. We'll bring Julia into the conversation in a minute. And you as well, if you want. 08459 455 555. It's 8:16. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. These are, excuse me, your headlines. A man from Milton Keynes has begun raising money online to pay for his own assisted suicide in Switzerland. Figures show that more than 1,000 babies are born in Hertfordshire each year to mums who smoke while pregnant. And police in Leicester say coachloads of people from Bedfordshire were at a nightclub in the city when 2 men were stabbed.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 3. Local stories.
People in Watford are being urged to celebrate their local heroes by creating a postcard in their honour. In other local news, rugby fans are being warned to watch out for fake World Cup tickets.
Roberto Peroni.
Now, a metal detectorist has discovered an archaeological find in a field near Royston in Hertfordshire. Taxi drivers in Luton are demanding to be allowed to drive in bus lanes at all times. There is to be a new station at the Leighton Buzzard Narrow Gauge Railway.
Roberto Peroni. Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
I'm in
Three Counties Radio.
I'm enjoying this morning. This is for a Monday. This is feisty, and it's tell you why it's good, because it's really getting me thinking. I feel like a kind of boxer. I'm kind of bouncing around the ring a bit. This is. I know it. Okay, it's weird to say it's fun to have a conversation about assisted suicide, but I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
It's getting me thinking.
And we were lucky to have Roger come to us with it.
Exactly. Just remind us who Roger is before we go back to Mick. Just remind us who
Roger
who
Bailey, 66-year-old cancer survivor from Milton Keynes, had surgery in 2012 and it's left him with severe nerve damage. He's got all kinds of problems as a result, constant pain. He's incontinent. He has to have a colostomy bag. He just says he's not living with dignity and he's had enough. So now he's launched a crowdfunding site to try and raise the money to go to Dignitas in Switzerland.
And we're speaking to disability rights campaigner Mick Scarlett. Morning, Mick.
Morning.
Thank you for sticking around.
Oh, no trouble.
Let me bring Julia into the conversation. Good morning, Julia.
Morning, Ian.
You know Roger, do you?
Yes.
Tell us, when did he reveal to you what his plan was?
I didn't know about his plan, Ian, which was my point that I'm ringing up. I know Roger, not very well, but he's a really, really, really nice man.
So did you just find out about it this morning?
Yes. Cool. And I am horrified. He's a really lovely man, and people to say he is a coward, they are a disgrace. He tries his absolute hardest. He walks around the village. He's just a really nice man, and I am shocked, and I really want to go around and give this man a hug.
When I'm open for free hugs, by the way, as well, Julia. Never say no to a hug. Okay, so you heard him on the radio this morning. You heard what his plan was. First time you knew about it. How did that make you feel?
Oh, I'm very, very surprised, because he is a very dignified man. I know he's in a lot of pain. He's told me, but he doesn't moan, he doesn't whine. He just says that's the way this is, and I never in a million years knew he was going through that, and I'm really sorry about that.
What do you think of his decision? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it?
Well, it's not really for me to say, but obviously I know how he lives.
Yeah.
So I know his sort of circumstances. I know where he lives, and in some ways I can understand, but I'm just appalled at what people have said without knowing this man.
Yeah.
I'm actually seeing him tomorrow, so hopefully I'm going to have a chat with him about it.
Julia, I really appreciate your call. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
And that's the thing, isn't it, Mick? It does have an impact. People say that suicide is selfish. I don't know if I necessarily buy into that, but there is a wider impact, isn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I would never say that he's being a coward. I think that's completely...
No, that was one of the callers earlier on, yeah.
I think that's very disingenuous, because what it is that time and time again, I mean, I've experienced it. You know, I've had 2 periods where I've had sort of like serious mental health issues. One when I was 15 and started using a wheelchair, and then one many years later when typically I was involved in a car accident and broke my back for the second time.
Hey.
I do like being in a wheelchair.
Come on, man.
I know, I'm just too greedy. Now, so then you are totally unable to control your emotions. Your mind does things that you have no control over, and the more you try to control it, the less control you have. And also, I think people don't understand that chronic pain alters your brain chemistry. You know, I have periods where I have what's called breakthrough pain, and that's like extra pain plus. So you have your normal pain and then extra, and your nerves can get caught if you get a cold or a flu or something like that, and then that becomes really painful. And when that happens, you lose all sense of reality. You really do. I've had sort of experiences where I've sort of sat in the kitchen and thought, if I stick this knife through my heart, I can stop the pain, and that's what it's like. But I still think it's really troubling that not that it's happening, but that society seems to be far too ready to condone it. Whereas what they should be saying is, why isn't there more research done on better painkillers? There hasn't been a real new painkiller for like 50 years. Why? Because it doesn't make any money.
The difference with Roger is that his condition isn't terminal.
Yes, that's it. That's the thing. I think
if it were terminal, would you think differently about what he's planning to do?
Personally, I wouldn't. I have a problem with it all because I don't think we're ready yet, and I do believe that as a society, once we get a law that says people, like the Faulkner bill, that with 6 months or less to live, you can have assisted dying, I do think it would lead, like this slippery slope argument, that it would lead to assisted suicide. I'll tell you why, because we're having this discussion. Do you see what I mean? And I think that like you said, I mean, really, when I came out the other end of this kind of funk that I was in, where I couldn't, really get used to the idea of who I was going to be, the new me, right? I realised how lucky I was. I'd beaten cancer. You see what I mean? And I think
I do, but and we're going off on a slight tangent, but indulge me. My dad died a couple of years ago, and he died of pancreatic cancer, and it was horrible to watch him die. He was on painkiller. He was out of it. Oh, it was horrible to watch, and he was in pain. Even though he's on a lot of painkillers. If he had said to me, Iain, can you help?
Yeah.
I would have seriously considered it and looked at all the options to have eased his last few weeks.
The thing is, Iain, right, I'm not like a lot of the people I campaign with are against it, full stop.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily against it, full stop. I just think that it, like you said, I mean, say for instance, like your father, he's in agony.
Yeah.
Right. So we get a law for him, and he's allowed to be eased out of that pain.
Yeah.
Then how would we be able to say to someone like Roger, well, yes, of course, because yours is never going to end. And then what happens is you end up in a society that says that being me is in some way less tolerable than not.
No, I don't buy that thread.
Really I know it's just because I know from my experience within our society as a disabled person, how society has hardened its views towards me.
Oh yeah, we all know you're a bunch of sponges. Since the Olympics, we know you can do anything, and you're just trying to get free benefits. We know that, Mick. That's fact.
And I mean, when I first got my first car, I had my parking badge, and people would go, "Yeah, you need that because you can't walk." And now I keep having it stolen. I have to padlock it to my car.
Oh yeah. Oh listen,
and that's the thing. So is it the right time to start discussing whose experience of life is less tolerable than someone else?
Mick, stay there. I want to bring Scott into the conversation. Morning, Scott.
Morning.
Scott, you want to have a word with Mick?
Mick.
Yeah.
You're saying that your disablement. No, the fact that you're disabled, the fact that this gentleman is disabled, the fact that anyone is disabled is completely irrelevant to everything. Everyone has their own personal way of dealing with things. My wife has had bipolar for years, which was often described as a disease where a manic depressive disorder, where she was just not, and people tried to fix her, and they've been trying to do this and change her medication her entire life. Now she's okay, and she has her days, but she's better now. But I don't look at it as though she's disabled. I don't look at it as anything wrong. Everyone has their choice of life, and people like yourself can be fixed, and it's good that you can. But people that can't be fixed, there are people that can't be fixed, and even if you tell someone day after consecutive day they can be fixed and that it can work, and they just can't do it. It just will not work. And we as people do not have the right to turn around and say to them, well, I'm sorry, but I think you can be fixed, so you're going to be fixed. If they feel that way, then I think it should be that way. You have no right to determine as to whether they can live in this world more than anyone else.
And that's the thing, Scott,
say that. The problem is, though, is I didn't think I could be fixed when I was younger. This is the point. And when I talk about this, I'm talking about it from my own experience.
Yeah.
I did try to kill myself. I did. This is not an abstract for me. This is an experience I had. And so saying, oh, well, you can be fixed, I didn't think I could be fixed when I was in the state of mind where if someone had said, would you like me to assist you to die, I would have said yes. So it's not that. That's not what I mean. What
right have you got, Mick?
Mm-hmm.
What right has anyone got? Scott, I'm going to let you go. Keep listening, but it's not a great line, but thank you. And this is kind of one of the points he was making. What right has anyone got to tell somebody else it's not bad enough for you, you can't die? What right have we got to say that?
What right has anyone got to expect someone else to kill them?
Well, if there is a service that is provided, then they've got every right.
No, there isn't, though, is there? This is the point.
Well, there is.
What I'm saying is you want to change society.
There is a service, Dignitas.
Yes. So, okay.
So there is a service.
I'm a bit lost now because, it's fine. So you're not one of these people that wants a law in this country, which I thought was the whole point of what we were talking about.
No, I wouldn't mind a law in this country, but there is a service somewhere in the world at the moment, so people can legitimately fly and indulge in that service. What right have we got to say no?
I'll tell you why, because I think it's really sad. I know that with the right support and the right help, he could reclaim his life.
You don't know that, though. But you don't know that, Mick. It worked for you, and that's brilliant. Don't work for everyone.
What? So we're just going to give up?
No, but it doesn't work for everyone. And Sean Mick, you're an intelligent man. You must know that just because it worked for you, you can't extrapolate it that it will work for everyone. It doesn't.
I keep saying, why is it that if it is a physical or an issue around the physicality of the human body, that we accept that some people can't cope, but if it's another reason, like the last caller's bipolar, we're not saying, oh, well, bipolar, let's put them down. But, we should help them die. We're targeting a very small section of society, and I just happen to be that section of society.
Mick, I sort of bring Doreen in before we go to the news. Doreen, what would you like to say?
Annoyed with him.
Oh, go on, Doreen. Go on, Doreen. You're through to Mick.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so amazed at how people haven't got any empathy for anybody. It's all about me. I put up with it, so why shouldn't they? It's ridiculous.
But I have got empathy. I've just said.
You have. But I'm talking about your other listeners. One of the women that said he was a coward.
Oh, well, that's terrible.
Disgusting.
That's not.
Yeah, but that wasn't Mick that called him a coward. In fairness, that was Marion.
Pardon?
That wasn't Mick that called him a coward, was it, Doreen? That was
lady.
Yeah, it was Marion.
Yeah, no, that's really unfair.
I listen. I take it all in. I'm 83 this year. I'm registered disabled.
Okay.
I have quite a bit of pain.
Yeah.
But everybody is different. Everybody's got a different pain threshold.
Absolutely.
I had 5 babies without gas and air. And also, everybody's got a different life. I've got a fantastic family. And if you're happy in your life, your pain is more bearable. Some people haven't got the backup.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is what I meant. We want to make sure that he's got the support.
Why should they be judged? It's their life.
But
I don't think you should take somebody else's life.
But that's what's happening, though, isn't it?
To take your own decision. If life is unbearable and life is so bad that you don't want to live, I feel very sorry for anybody. And I think they should be helped.
Well,
I think there should be laws.
I
should be looked into. I don't think you should just say to the family, carte blanche, if your loved one's in a lot of pain, just
ship them off.
Ship them off. Buy them a ticket. Listen, Doreen, I've got to end it there. Thank you, Mick. I appreciate you staying on longer than we agreed, and I appreciate you taking some calls. Disability Rights Campaigner Mick Scarlett. I kind of think the narrative that Mick was going for that this is legalise euthanasia or assisted suicide, whatever you want to call it, is an attack on disabled people. I don't quite buy that. There we go. Let's open up the phones. 08459 455 555. Thank you very much, Mick. Appreciate that.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In where it's slow on the A10 southbound from the Hertford turn-off towards Great Cambridge Road at the New River Arms roundabout. That's because of the roadworks. In Watford, it's busy on Beach and Grove around Escort Road, and looking at speed sensors in Amersham and Gore Hill, that's slow around the A143 to the A40 London Road. On the motorways, the M40 towards London is busy at Junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handycross roundabout, and on the A1M southbound, it's slow from Junction 8 for Hitchin towards 7 for Stevenage. No reports of any problems on the train, so looking at the departure boards. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. A man from Milton Keynes is trying to raise money to pay for his assisted suicide. 66-year-old Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but has been left in constant pain after the removal of a tumour. Police in Leicester say coachloads of people from Bedfordshire were at a nightclub in the city when 2 men were stabbed. One man is still in a critical condition following the attack last Wednesday evening. And a new campaign is encouraging women in Hertfordshire to quit smoking while pregnant. Figures show 1,000 babies in the county are born to mums who smoke each year. The weather will be sunny at first this morning, but turning cloudy this afternoon with rain by this evening. Top temperatures today around 16 degrees Celsius. That's 43 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
New Zealand's cricketers are on top against England in the second test at Headingley. The Tourists closed day 3 on 338 for 6 in their second innings with a lead of 338 runs. England's bowling coach Otis Gibson says it was a difficult day's play for Alistair Cook's side.
The Kiwis have put us under a lot of pressure the way they've played, the attacking sort of cricket that they've played, both in the first innings and this innings. We haven't been as good as we can be. And we've played ourselves into a hole, but I think it's a hole that, there's still a lot of time in the game, so they'll have to be careful, mindful of that also. And but we're behind the 8 ball a bit.
England beat the Barbarians 73-12 at Twickenham with Danny Cipriani named man of the match. He scored 2 tries, completed all 10 conversions and kicked a penalty to improve his chances of making the final World Cup squad.
It's exciting and it's good for English rugby, and I think everyone's egos is taken out of it. Everyone wants what's best for England to be able to win this World Cup in England. I've got to make sure I put my hand up every time I get a chance, and now it's my time to get a bit of time off, rest up, come into camp raring to go.
At the French Open tennis, Andy Murray plays the Frenchman Jeremy Chardy in the last 16 today. The British number 1 has only lost once to Chardy in the 7 previous meetings, but says he'll have to play better than he did in the last round if he wants to progress.
Hopefully I'll start to play some better tennis from the beginning of matches, and I'm going to need to if I want to go further, because obviously the opponents get tougher and tougher and more experienced, and it's going to be hard.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 9 o'clock.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
So he couldn't understand why, if magicians can turn playing cards into £20 notes, why they didn't just keep, just do it all weekend and become millionaires. Justin Daly, this is. He couldn't understand it.
Well, it's a very sensible question. It's a bit like, why can't the Bank of England just print loads more money and just give us all a load of money?
Exactly. Just put an extra £100,000 in my bank.
Exactly. Just print more. I mean, it's only paper. It's not going to cost that much.
I wonder, Paul Scollins, political correspondent, Justin Dealey, political reporter for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now we're cooking.
With a new location, maybe we need we just need a little shift around, and that might just... Imagine him interviewing David Cameron.
Yeah.
All right, geez, what's happening?
Political and current affairs.
Oh, I do think everyone here should do a job swap for a day. Everyone should do.
What are you going to do?
I'll be Shaggy and not a lot. Ollie the cleaner should come and do your shift.
Right. Oh, I think Ollie the cleaner would like to do my shift. Do you know Ollie the cleaner actually tried to punch me last week?
Yeah. Oh, good. Good.
I can't remember what phone-in it was, but I popped out to the loo during the news.
She grabbed you.
And she came hurtling towards me with a bunch of fines.
Wowzers. You're often getting attacked by women of an age, aren't you? What's on your show this morning?
Coming up on the big phone-in this morning, we're going to talk about the Roger Bailey story you've been discussing this morning. And I'm going to be asking, do you hope Roger Bailey raises enough money to go to Dignitas? A man from Milton Keynes is asking for donations online so he can pay to end his life at Dignitas. Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but lives in constant pain after an operation in 2012 which left him with severe nerve damage. He's 66 years old and he needs around £16,000 to pay to end his life at the Swiss clinic. Well, from 9 this morning, we'll continue this discussion and I'll be asking, do you hope Roger Bailey raises enough money to go to Dignitas? I'd love your call on 08459 455 555.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I've enjoyed Monday. It's a Monday. I've enjoyed this show. Hey, Kelly.
Hiya.
It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Oh, it is good though.
Got any texts before I crack on with
yes, I have.
This?
Hi gang, says Jay of Luton.
Hey, Jay of Luton.
I believe my life is my life and no one has the right to say what I do with it. I watch my mother die and if I say, could she have chosen... if she could have chosen Dignitas, instead she got palliative care. No food, no water, only morphine over the space of a week and a half, and that will haunt me for the rest of my life. It was so cruel and undignified. We're not all the same, says Ev. Different strokes for different folks.
Everard, yes, always good to get your input.
And Boyd says, I sympathise with both sides of the issue. It's so tough.
OK, we'll get more of your phone calls on that. We'll speak to Dealey before the end of the show as well. Got a little bit of magic coming up, I think. Now, Friday's show. Do you remember Friday's show? We spoke about Bianca Stacey from Aylesbury. Do you remember we spoke to her friend, didn't we, whose name
Vicky.
is... Vicky, that was it. Bianca is 7 months pregnant and she's facing eviction. Shared house, 8 other people, her and her partner, but no kids are allowed, so she's going to get booted out, basically. They've been given until tomorrow to get out. Very stressful time, but we had a statement from Aylesbury Vale District Council that offered a little ray of hope. Well, Bianca joins us now. Morning, Bianca.
Hiya.
Bianca, nice to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the air.
That's okay.
I know you were a little bit shy last week, so I'm glad we managed to coax you out.
Yeah.
We had a statement from Aylesbury Vale District Council which said... that, you're going to get booted out, but the council will make temporary accommodation available from the 2nd of June if required. That was the statement, wasn't it, Catherine?
Yeah, it was suggesting that you'd only had notice and you didn't technically have to be out of the house, but nevertheless, in their words, that what you just said, that they would make it available if necessary.
So that's that all sorted then, Bianca, isn't it?
Not really, no.
Why?
We went up there Friday afternoon with the statement. Obviously, it had been forwarded to me, which was nice, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I asked to speak to someone there. I wasn't allowed to speak to anyone. I had to do it over the phone.
So while you were there?
Yeah, she phoned them from within the council offices.
Yeah, I borrowed one of their phones and rung the housing office, read out the statement to them, and they said, I don't know where that's come from, who's written it, we've no idea. And now, thanks to you guys, I've found out who the original writer was, which was the actual housing manager. So I'm going to contact them again today, as the lady I spoke to said they can't book emergency accommodation 4 days in advance. So I've got to wait until 10 o'clock today to find out.
I'm laughing, Bianca, because we've all dealt with the council on things not always as important as this, but we've all dealt with the bureaucracy of the council and flipping heck. So you've got to call them at 10 o'clock today.
Yep.
And then are they going to uphold their promise to find you temporary accommodation from tomorrow?
Only if there's anything available, they said. There might not be anything.
Oh.
Again, well, that's not what the statement says. Quote,
exactly,
the council will make temporary accommodation available from 2nd of June if required.
Yeah. And then they started talking about assessing your situation once you're in it so that they could see whether they need to support you long term. But there was no doubt about whether they could provide that accommodation as according to that statement.
Yeah, that's what it said. So I said to them in the statement, it didn't say we might provide accommodation. It was a will. But yeah, 10 o'clock today, I'll find out.
All right. Listen, it's not for me to tell you what to do, but you need to stand as firm as you can, I would suggest, and just keep mentioning that statement. Mention the fact that it's been on this show on the BBC.
And also say that you're coming back on tomorrow to tell us how you got on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they were very happy that I spoke to you guys last
Tough,
week.
isn't it? It's tough, isn't it? They should have sorted it out straight away then.
How many times have you rung them and not had a phone call back?
In the last month, probably about 5 times.
The thing is, Bianca, they will get a bit funny that you've been on the radio because they don't like to be exposed as appearing to be heartless and careless. And I'm sure they're not heartless, and I'm sure they're not careless, and I'm sure it's just a mistake that they've not been able to help you before. And I am sure, Bianca, that, who is it, Aylesbury Vale District Council, I am confident that today, when you speak to them at 10 o'clock, they will be pleased to hear from you, and they'll say, we've got an address for you. It's only temporary, but you can stay there while we try and find you somewhere more permanent.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it? How's everything going? How are you feeling with the baby and everything?
Nervous.
Nervous? It's the first baby, isn't it?
It is.
Your life's going to change.
It'll be good, though.
Oh, it's amazing.
Can I give you some comforting sisterly words of advice? Your body knows what it's doing, even if you don't.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
I've worked with children for 3 years, so I've got loads of practice.
It's getting them out that you need practice on, and that's never going to happen.
Bianca, listen.
Until you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and you will.
Bianca, can we speak to you tomorrow, just to make sure that Aylesbury Vale District Council have lived up to their word?
Yep, that's
It would be great to say, yep, they found us somewhere, we're picking up the keys at midday, and we're going to move in.
And if they could be polite about it, that would be a bonus, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bianca, I really, your story touched a lot of people, and I really wish you the very best of luck. We'll speak to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bianca. There we go. Wasn't she delightful? She was a bit shy to come on last week, and she had nothing to worry about at all. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I've been worrying about her all weekend. Isn't it sad? Oh, dearie me. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Aylesbury Vale District Council. They're a good lot. They'll sort it out. They said they'd sort it out. So therefore they must sort it out. Mustn't they? That's how it works, isn't it? Gareth says, re-assisted dying. Only God can decide who lives and dies. She's the only one who should take life. Very, very nice. Thank you. 81333. Start your text 3CR. Have we got any texters?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a little
Let's
look.
have a little look. I bet I'm going to bet yes.
Okay then. It's been a busy old morning this morning.
Here's someone who's not left their name, but it's an interesting point. No one can judge another person's pain. I feel for Roger, and I don't disagree with him, but I couldn't donate money even if I had some to spare.
Yeah, and that's a conversation we could well have had about the ethics or otherwise of donating money towards this. And I thought we were going to kind of go that way, and we didn't. The conversation went another way, which is why it's such a joy doing this thing, because I never quite know exactly where we're going to go with that.
John in Datchworth. Ian, surely this man who's wanted to commit suicide should be allowed to die with dignity, and because he feels it's the best thing for him, allow him to do it correctly, if there is such a way, rather than him doing it in front of a train for some poor relative to find him, at home. That's from John in Datchworth. And I have a question, says Tony.
Hello, Tony. Let's see if we can answer it.
If I were to donate to the Just Giving assisted suicide, it wasn't Just Giving, it was crowdfunding, would I be breaking the law by assisting a person with their suicide? Would all the people who've donated be prosecuted, says Tony?
I don't think the website will know about it, because they're not going to check everything that goes on. I would suspect that if they were to become aware of it, they would pull it.
I think they might.
I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Because normally that site is for people who want to fund a small business venture or a film or a record.
And I think I suspect they will pull it. And then where does that leave Roger? I think he knows that it's.
And I guess he's going to keep trying.
He's scrabbling around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, listen. In about 3 or 4 minutes' time, we're going to blow Justin Dealey's mind. Actually, it's not that difficult to blow Justin Dealey's mind. It's a very, very tiny mind. But we are going to blow Justin Dealey's mind.
God is a he, not a she.
OK, thank you very, very much indeed.
As you know, I deal in facts and not fiction.
That's correct, Justin. We're going to have a little bit of cheeky magic. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Right, BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello. And where on the A10? It's slow southbound.
I don't know where.
Hertford. No, where?
I don't know where. You tell me. It's your job, mate.
In where in Hertfordshire?
I don't know where in Hertfordshire.
A10 southbound. It's slow from the Hertford turn off towards Great Cambridge Road at the New River Arms roundabout. That's because of the roadworks. It's also busy in Amersham on Gore Hill southbound at the A413 to the A40 London Road. And on the motorways, the M40 is slow towards London from junction 5 for Stoke-on-Church to 4 for the High Wycombe Handy Cross roundabout. On the A1M, that's busy southbound from junction 8 for Hitchin to 7 for the A602 at Stevenage. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 8:45. Monday, the 1st of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A man from Milton Keynes has begun raising money online to pay for his own assisted suicide in Switzerland. Figures show that more than 1,000 babies are born in Hertfordshire each year to mothers who smoke while pregnant. And police in Leicester say coachloads of people from Bedfordshire were at a nightclub in the city when 2 men were stabbed. Coming up, Justin Dealey loses his tiny mind. Before that, here's the weather with Elizabeth.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. We've just seen weather warning issued by the Met Office, also including the three counties for very strong winds overnight tonight with the potential to cause some damage to some of the trees that are now in full leaf, of course. Some strong gusts of wind, 40 to 50 miles an hour, and there'll be plenty of heavy rain to go with it all as well, so not very nice driving conditions, particularly through the night tonight. But for today, most places are going to stay dry. We might just see a few showers pop up here and there through the afternoon. There will be increasing amounts of cloud too this afternoon. Lots of brightness for this morning, though some spells of sunshine as well, but quite limited through this afternoon. Highs today of a fairly cool 14 or 15 Celsius, that's 59 in Fahrenheit. It's very cool for this time of year. The winds are going to be picking up this afternoon, and eventually we'll get some outbreaks of rain spread in from the west too. So as I said, wet and very windy too overnight tonight. Overnight lows of around 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. The weather warning includes part of the day tomorrow as well. Not a very nice start, some poor travelling conditions through the morning. Eventually that system pushing its way off out eastwards. We will see things improve through the afternoon, eventually brightening up, the winds easing down, and we'll see temperatures up to around 16 degrees Celsius. Very settled from Wednesday onwards, turning very warm possibly by the end of the week. That's the forecast.
Booyah.
Every weekday morning.
Coming up at 9 on the Big Phone In this morning, is it a good idea to make jobless teenagers work for their benefits?
How would you like this country to stand up to President Putin? Are you surprised to see British people being blatantly racist?
The JVS Show.
I think we've got to get over this issue about racism doesn't exist. It has existed. It will probably carry on existing.
What I wanted to say is they've got this completely the wrong way around. You know, that is also true. That is also true.
You will always get some, but they are such a minority.
I think the man's a buffoon. Get him up, get him out of bed, give him a sense of purpose.
The JVS Show.
Do you think we have got to, as a country, start taking this issue more seriously?
Every weekday morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Justin.
Morning, Ian.
How you doing, fella?
Yeah, well, yourself?
I'm fine, mate. What's your beef?
No beef. No beef. No beef.
You seem a little bit, what's wrong?
Tense?
I'm smelling beef.
Yeah, you know, I make a serious point earlier on, and I've been ridiculed for, the past hour or so?
Just make the serious point again.
OK, my serious point was, how did you even get talking about magic?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Well, what's your beef?
You!
OK, so my question was...
Yes.
And it's just a thought process, OK?
He's given it like a name. It's like it's a thought process. All right, okay.
Right.
That makes it legitimate then, doesn't make it sound stupid.
It's a hypothesis, if you will.
Okay.
Let me back this up with some further thoughts.
Please do, mate.
Okay.
Please.
So if a magician can turn a £20...
Yes.
Well, if he can turn a card into a £20 note or a £50 note,
Yeah.
why is that person not a millionaire?
Justin, let me stop you there.
We told you.
Let's bring it's a trick, but let's bring a magician into the conversation, shall we?
Okay.
Say hello to Pete Heat.
Hello.
Morning, Pete. You well?
Yeah, very well, thanks. How are you?
Hey,
Yeah.
You don't sound too well, Pete. It's a bit croaky this morning.
I'm a bit. Basically, I've just woken up. I've just been told that you've been banging on about me on the radio.
Yeah, saying you're a charlatan and the tricks you do, they're not real tricks.
That's not what you said.
No, listen, Pete. For those who don't know, Pete Heat is brilliant. He is my favourite magician by far. He's primarily the reason I was attracted to you, Pete, is because you are actually about 3 inches taller than me.
I am, yeah. It's true.
It's true, and that is
You're
not
attracted to him.
I am attracted to. I am attracted to men that are taller than me. Pete, you are a magician, and you are working the clubs, and you're doing the bits and pieces. What are you up to at the moment?
Well, actually, I'm about to go into ITV, where I work in the daytime now, and I create magic tricks for a show called Tricked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a Jonathan Creek.
Hey!
Except without all the crime and the murder.
You've got bad hair as well, though.
Bad hair, well, that's true, actually.
Yes, that was unfair. Hey, that's brilliant. Oh, I'm glad it's. We need to meet up and have a coffee and have a chat and see what's going on.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Justin, ask Pete your question.
Okay, Pete. So if you can make money appear out of nowhere, okay, and I'm going to back this up with a question as well, which will probably blow your mind. All right.
Okay.
If you can make money appear out of nowhere, why are you working for a living? Why are you not a multi-millionaire?
It's a good question. It's a perceptive and intelligent question.
It's a genuine question as well, Pete. That's the thing.
Really, well, if it is, then I don't think anything I can say can enlighten you. It's a very good question. I just do it for the love. Obviously, I generally do sit around making stacks of £20 notes appear around me, but that gets boring eventually. So
I've got it. Magician's code means you can't do it for personal gain, can you?
Exactly, Catherine. Thank you for stepping in there and solving that. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Justin, does that answer your question?
Okay, second question. Okay, second question. If you can make rabbits appear out of nowhere,
Why have you got loads of rabbits?
Why are you not running a pet shop?
I am actually. I run several pet shops. I'm actually the largest pet shop manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third question.
For goodness sake!
And this one's a genuine question.
You're demeaning his
No,
art.
I'm not at all. Okay, so forget about things appearing out of nowhere. Okay, we're talking theft here, and I've seen this on TV.
Okay, so it must be true.
So let's just say, for argument's sake, we're talking about Dynamo. I've seen him do this. So he can be standing next to you, and suddenly your mobile phone, which has been tucked inside your jacket pocket, will appear in his pocket. That is theft, okay? Why is Dynamo not running a mobile phone company on the black market? Now, come on, how do you answer that?
Answer it, Pete.
Listen, we're all capable of committing crimes, but it doesn't mean we do them. Like, you could walk into a shop and grab something and run out, but you probably don't do that regularly, and that's the only reason why Dynamo isn't running a...
He should be in prison. That man should be in prison.
Do you know, you get what I'm saying, though, don't you?
No, he doesn't, mate, because he's got a brain. Pete?
Yes.
The answer's going to be no.
Okay.
Can you do a trick now?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that, and basically radio isn't the ideal medium.
Oh, you're such a lightweight.
What would be good if I could come into your studio one day? I could definitely show you. I could show you something and you'd be kind of the eyes of the audience.
I tell you what, I would love that. And come in and sit with us for a bit, and then go out on the street with Justin and do some magic out and about. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
Right,
I mean, and now-ish would be a good time to do it after Jamie Raven on Britain's Got Talent. You know. So yeah, definitely.
Pete, listen, we'll have a chat and sort something out in the week. I really appreciate. It's good to hear from you, mate, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah. All right. Great.
Thank you, Pete. Ta-ta. If you want to follow... Pete?
Yeah.
Give us the website. Give us all the plugs and stuff if people want to find out more about you.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. It's peteheat.co.uk.
Yep.
Or just follow me on Twitter at peteheat. It'll make me feel really nice.
Oh, sexy. And you are available for paid gigs.
I am available for paid gigs. I was at the FA Cup final on Saturday. I'm kind of a big deal, Ian.
Were you there as a punter?
No, I was there in the hospitality suites as a close-up magician wandering around.
Peter!
So I do all sorts of stuff. I met one of Wet yesterday. Stop going on about it.
Which one did you meet?
What was his name? Graham, I think he was called. He had long hair and a lovely Scottish accent.
Yep, I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
Skinny one.
I've got to say, Pete, you sound like an absolute top geezer. If you don't mind, I would love to go on the streets with you. That would be brilliant.
Let's do it.
Pete, you've changed. peteheat.co.uk, at Pete Heat. We'll speak to you soon. We'll get you on the show.
Great, yeah.
Thank you, mate. Ta-ta.
Okay, cool.
He's honestly, he's brilliant. He's such a good magician. and I turned 12 years old. Justin, you've taken this to the streets.
Yes, I have, and you thought my thought process was absolutely ridiculous.
I found it offensive, yeah.
Okay, you found it offensive, right?
Yeah.
Step too far there.
You're really making me laugh this morning. You've got to stop.
I've taken this one to the streets. I've taken it, and I've been asking people this morning. Okay, the same principle as earlier on. All right, if a magician can make £20 appear out of nowhere, why is that person not a millionaire? Do people agree? Here's what people had to say.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog.
Daniel, I'm going to give you a scenario right now. See if you agree with me. If magicians can make money appear out of nowhere, okay, why are they not millionaires?
I've always thought the same thing about Dynamo. I don't have a clue, but I would like to know.
So you're with me, aren't you?
I am with you, and I've always... Every time I see a magician, I think the same thing. If they can make money appear out of nowhere, why aren't they millionaires?
Tom, okay, let me put my thought process into your brain, okay? My brain to your brain. Let's transfer right now. If a magician can make £20 notes appear out of nowhere, do you often think to yourself, why is that person not rich? Why are they not a millionaire?
I know what you mean, yeah. Yeah, how come they're not millionaires?
So you think the same?
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely. They're crazy. If they can do that, what are they working for? Yeah, you're right. And why do they keep producing lottery tickets that are winning? Why aren't they winning the lottery all the time?
You're talking about psychics now, aren't you?
No, magicians. You must have seen that guy on the telly, does it? He gives somebody a winning lottery ticket.
Is this
I don't know how he did it, but he did it. He predicted the numbers.
Yeah, good point. So if he can do that, why is he not winning the lottery every single weekend?
That's right.
Doesn't make sense.
He's mad.
I have my followers out there.
Who's the madman in this scenario?
No, he's got a good point.
No, he hasn't.
No, hang on. If you've got a magician who can predict the lottery numbers, why is he not winning the lottery every single weekend? You cannot answer that question.
Well, you can answer that question because he can't predict the lottery numbers.
Well, if he's given somebody a ticket which has won the lottery, why is he not doing it for himself?
Exactly. Think about that.
I'm thinking.
Okay, and the answer is?
It's
a trick!
It's a trick.
Yes!
So, but even if it is a trick, okay, let's just say, yes, it's a trick. Well done. You've correctly predicted the winning lottery numbers.
That's not what he's done.
Why are you not using that trick to earn you money?
Please go away. I can't talk to him anymore.
The
thing is, he's not a character. That's real.
I've had more sensible conversations with my 3-year-old. I think she would get this. It's a trick.
Yeah, but if it's a trick, why is he not doing it for,
Because it's a trick.
Yes, clip that.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's have some texts, shall we?
All right, here we go. Can we discuss the regional health and happiness meter, William?
Sorry?
I don't know.
What? Don't know what that means.
No. I think it maybe is a stray text for someone else. And if God is a woman, why did she need Mary to carry Jesus, and how did she get Mary pregnant?
Yeah, God didn't... If God was a man, he didn't have sex with Mary. That's not what happened. He touched her tum-tum with his magic finger. That's what happened, I think.
Magic.
Magic. Give us one more. Have we got one more? Have we got no more?
No, no more.
OK, all right, blimey. Well, that's it. That's your lot. Thank you. I've enjoyed this morning far too much for a Monday. Oh, new podcast came out on Friday. If you're subscribed, we've changed the category, so you may have to resubscribe. So just go, if you normally get the podcast delivered to your computer, then just go to iTunes or go to the Three Counties website and have a little look to make sure that it's all coming your way. Because last week's is a doozy, and I would hate for you to miss it.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Amersham on Gore Hill, that's looking slow on the speed sensors from the A413 towards the A40 at London Road. In Ware on the A10 it's busy southbound from the Hertford turn off towards Great Cambridge Road at the New River Arms roundabout through the roadworks. And in Borehamwood on the A1 there are queues southbound from the Holiday Inn towards the Broadway at Mill Hill Circus. On the motorways the M25 it's queues anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. And looking at the train departure boards, there's no problems showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. Oh, I need to lie down after that. That was far too exhausting for a Monday. Can we make tomorrow's show a little bit less intensive, please? Don't forget, if you want to send me an email, you're more than welcome to. Iain.lee. I spell Iain properly. IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk. iTunes, type in Iain Lee BBC. The podcast pops up. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Scoins. Thank you, at Pete Heat. Catherine, we need to have a chat. Till tomorrow at 6 from us. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Monday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's big phone-in, do you hope Roger Bailey raises enough money to go to Dignitas? A man from Milton Keynes is asking for donations online so he can pay to end his life at Dignitas. Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but he lives in constant pain after an operation in 2012 which left him with severe nerve damage. He's 66 years old and needs around £16,000 to pay to end his life at the Swiss clinic. Well, this morning I want your reaction to this story. Do you hope Roger Bailey raises enough money to go to Dignitas? Pick up the phone, come on and have your say. Here's my telephone number. It's 08459 455 555.
This is the JVS show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll take your call in just a second, but first let's get the latest BBC News at 9 o'clock. Here's Lee Agnew.
A man from Milton Keynes is raising money online to pay for his own assisted suicide. 66-year-old Roger Bailey isn't terminally ill, but has been in constant pain since having a tumour removed from his back. He says people don't understand what he's going through.
I find that most of the people that are critical are fit and healthy and, pontificate about care not killing, etc. But it just doesn't happen. I mean, we've got an NHS system that is creaking at the seams, and the thought of going into care is absolutely horrific.
Trials of a scheme to double free childcare for working parents will start next September. The Preschool Learning Alliance is warning the system faces meltdown if the government doesn't increase the amount it pays to providers of preschool childcare. But Employment Minister Priti Patel insists the government will find the cash to fund the scheme.
It is important that we work alongside them to get the right funding rate so that they can actually provide the free hours. And, we are totally committed to this because of the importance and significance of childcare. So through this task force, we will consult with the providers and ensure that we get the balance of funding right.
Police in Leicester say people from Bedfordshire were at a nightclub in the city when two men were stabbed. The attack happened on an outside terrace of the club last Wednesday.